All right, there we go. I think that did it. Let me know if you can see or hear me right now. Let's see. Audio and video. Thank you, Lenina. Well. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Welcome back to eastern Utah. Welcome back to the earliest Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation. The very dawn of the Cretaceous period here near, I say near, that's relative, near Moab, Utah. It's not really a lot of towns near here at all, but Moab's probably the nearest town of note. Yeah, welcome. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. So, as a paleontologist, I study fossils. As a dinosaur paleontologist, I study dinosaur fossils. The majority of paleontologists work on other kinds of fossil organisms, everything from fossil bacteria to fossil blue whales. Actually, do we have fossil blue whales? I don't know. I should say baleen whales. But anywho, it's good to have you here. We are digging up some dinosaurs in the quarry right over there. For the past 2 weeks and change, I've been working with the Utah Geological Survey out here, excavating fossils on federal land. We've got what we think is probably a new species of iguanodont dinosaur, 2 new species of iguanodont dinosaur, and a few tantalizing bits and pieces from other kinds of dinosaur at this site too. Yeah, the whole point of these streams is to do science outreach, to give you a first-hand look at how paleontology, and to do so live so that you can interact, you can type in the chat, ask questions, just hang out. This is the best way that I know for doing science outreach, and I'm incredibly lucky to be able to do this for a living nowadays, thanks to the generous support of this community. And I'm really glad you're here. So welcome everybody. And there you go, Science Streams, hello, Lily to you, Pyrokitties Tavern, Seahorses Forever, hello everyone. It is wonderful to have you here. Oh, and hang on a second. Is that Karen there? Hi all, back in Arkansas and checking in. It's great to see you, Karen. I hope you're doing well. That's Dr. Karen Poole, who was on our streams just last week. And she's going to be leading the project for describing, naming, studying this new iguanodont. This kind of dinosaur that would have looked something like this when it was walking around. Beaky plant-eating dinosaur, probably facultatively bipedal, so it could walk on 2 legs or 4, depending on how it's. Really important group of herbivorous dinosaurs, and Karen happens to be one of the world experts on this group. So it's good to see you, Karen. Glad you're back safe in Arkansas, and yeah, hope things are going well. Hope you're ready to start the semester. But yeah. And we didn't iguanodont emote? We do, don't we, Lordy? Yeah. And how big was it? We're still figuring that out, Stink. We've got individuals from this quarry that are pretty small. We've got some that are pretty big. I would say it's larger than a Great Dane, smaller than the planet Saturn. No, it's probably like, I don't know, a roughly car-sized dinosaur. Lots of different kinds of cars, so yeah. Yeah. We're trying to figure out, are the different individuals that we have from this site all the same species? Are they young and old members of the same species, or do we have 2 different species? One larger, one smaller. We're kind of, I don't know. Karen could tell you about this in greater detail, but probably not too great detail because this stuff is still, well, it's not public yet, you know? Anywho. Fossil time, says Germs Germ. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Anywhere between a beetle and an SUV, says Shrin TI. Yeah, you know what? I used to have an SUV that was smaller than a Volkswagen Beetle. Smaller than the new Beetles, anyway. I had a 1988 Suzuki Samurai, and that thing was awesome off-road. Not as awesome on-road, but off-road, holy cow. It was a beast. Very small little SUV. Anybody out here ever own or drive a Suzuki Samurai? I missed that car. He's on about the Samurai again, says Westfield. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, we're gonna go take a look at the quarry. I've got a few new bones to show you, and also, big feature of today's stream, we're gonna be talking with author Christa Sadler about her book Dinosaur Frontier, a book in which several of us are featured. This is a book all about this new work in the Cedar Mountain Formation. It's the first book published on the science of the Cedar Mountain Formation. It's a big deal. I've been referencing this book throughout this field season. Just came out in May, I think, is when we got it. Cutting edge stuff, and it is a beautiful book, even when it's upside down. But check this out. We turn it the right side up, and look at that. So we'll be talking with Christa about this book in just a little bit. But this is absolutely a book that you want to get if you want to be in what's going on here at the beginning of the Cretaceous period. The sorts of work doing, especially people like Karen, Selena, Dawn, and Jim. They're helping us discover what was going on at the beginning of the Cretaceous period, not just in terms of the dinosaurs, but other animals, plants, the whole biota. This is fascinating stuff. Nobody knew about any of this 40 years ago. And now this is, one of the premier dinosaur-bearing formations to dig in. It's pretty cool to be on the forefront of this, at least to a certain extent, like we are here. By the way, apologies for not streaming yesterday. We worked here until 2 p.m. when I normally start stream, and then we took off to go visit another crew. We had a GAM, like we were talking about the other day. Like a nautical term for when two ships meet out in the middle of the ocean, all the crew hang out and everything. We met a crew from Los Angeles, from the Natural History Museum of LA. We used to call it LACM, the Los Angeles County Museum, and I still accidentally call it that all the time. But now it's NHM LA. And Luis Chiappe, who is research director of the museum and head of the whole, what do they call it? Do they call it the Dinosaur Institute at NHM LA? I think they do. Anyway, Luis is a big name in vertebrate paleontology, and it was really cool to go check out their site for a while, hang out with them, enjoy some cold drinks and stuff, and just talk and hang out. It was really neat. The site that they're working is called the Dawn's Ridge site, and Dawn DeBlue discovered that about 20 years ago. And that site has not been worked for about 15 years, I think. And so Dawn basically gifted them that site. He said, hey, dig here, there's good stuff. If you're trying to get dinosaurs from the earliest Cretaceous period, this is a great place to start. And they said, okay. And they've been finding really good material there for the past 3 weeks. We got to see some of it. Got a bunch of jackets. They've got iguanodont bones, sauropod bones, ankylosaur bones, and theropod bones. So all your big dinosaur players from the Cedar Mountain Formation, they've got them. And that's pretty cool. It was really neat hanging out with them. And anyway, that's why I didn't stream yesterday, is because we went and did that. But yeah, I'll show you pictures and stuff like that when I get back home to California in a week and a half. Yeah, I can show you some photos and stuff. It was a good time. Yeah. So anywho, yeah. Let's go check out the quarry. Say hi to everybody, show you some of these bones, and then a little bit, we'll do a little interview with Christa, talk about this book, and why you need to get it if you have the wherewithal. Or why you need to ask your local library to copy. It could be a bit more affordable for some people. But yeah. Oh, nice flip, Nick. What was in there?
Was it metacarpal?
Metacarpal? Nice.
Metatarsal.
Upper foot bone. Nice.
Top foot.
Very, very cool. Got Glenn working over here too. Glenn, you look so well equipped for field work. It's like
Yeah.
The chest pack and everything.
Oh yeah. Got all the essentials in here. I have my notebooks, my pens, pencils,
Easy access.
scale cards, some hand sanitizer if needed.
Nice.
Yeah. Got everything.
Good stuff. Can we take a look at your patches too? I
Yeah,
love
for
these.
sure.
I love the Possum one in particular.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's probably my favorite one too.
It's pretty neat. Yeah. Good stuff. So Glenn's visiting from Arkansas, one of Selena's students. So well, Selena's working on important work, so I won't bug her.
Yeah, I'll
But,
be done in a second.
Don's digging over there. Trying to get a promotion. Nice. Well deserved, I'm sure. And then we got Clayton over here. We were really excited about this earlier. Shoot, do you want to tell the story, Clayton?
Well, we just uncovered the little bit of tip here.
Uh-huh.
Saw that really strong arc.
Right.
Thought it was the beginning of a claw, but it's
And we're like,
started
is
to
this a
flatten out
dromaeosaur claw or
back
something?
up. It is.
Big raptor claw, but it looks like it's kind of turning into a rib or something. Maybe a skull bone?
It's more of a juvenile rib bone.
Yeah.
It's incomplete, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
Happens.
it's not bad for
Yeah.
my first bone out here, so.
Not too shabby, yeah. Yeah. It's good that you found that, like, that was subtle at first, too. You're like, is this something? And like, I don't know.
Right
let's see.
there, yeah.
And it's turned into a whole element there.
Unfortunately, missing a little bit of the tip, but. Of it as much as I could salvage, the rest of it just exploded.
Yeah. One of these bones sometimes.
Yeah,
But, yeah.
we have here. At least it's a juvenile.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It'd be really cool. Could be part of our iguanodon, it could be something else. So, figure it out.
That I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask
Yeah.
one of the other guys.
Yeah, and then so thank you, Clayton. Appreciate it. Right here, I'm sorry I had to cover this up already, chat, but it was, I don't know, I didn't want it to get stepped on or anything. There's a beautiful metatarsal under here. Probably from our iguanodont dinosaur. I took a picture earlier. Let's see if I can pull that up for you. There we go. There it is next to paintbrush there. But metatarsal is one of the upper foot bones, so you can see on the upper left-hand side, that's what we call the proximal end, that's closer to the rest of the body. And the distal end, down closer to the toes, would be in the lower right. So that's under here right now. And this is immediately underneath another bone that I think was probably a vertebra or something that I already jacketed. And that is over here. There we go. Yeah. So I got that out yesterday afternoon before we left, and then napped it and labeled it this morning. So, yeah, things are going well. We're starting to finally find more bones. Things have been a little dry for the past 2 weeks, and now we're finally starting to find stuff left and right. And we've got 1 week left. Less than 1 week left. I think our last day of work will be on Tuesday next week. So we've got, let's see, today, tomorrow, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so 6 days if you include today, 5 if you don't. And hopefully much of the day on Tuesday we'll spend packing up the site, kind of cleaning things up, and starting to pack up our gear so we can leave Wednesday. So yeah. Right before you need to wrap up, yeah, Lordy. Well, we were talking about this earlier. We were like, yeah, well, isn't this kind of how it always goes? We start to find all the good bones like with 1 week left. Spend 2 weeks like clearing overburden and really getting into the bone layer, and then the next year we only remember the good part when we're finding all the bones. So we get all discouraged for the first 2 weeks, like, why aren't we finding anything? It's because we forget.
So much.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Over here we've got Laura. Look at, wow, I haven't even seen this yet. Nice.
Trying to make it so we can have 2 smaller jackets.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, but that's a narrow channel.
What have you got? These are probably limb bones, right, or ribs?
So this is definitely a femur shaft. It's
Oh,
huge. I mean,
nice.
it's not even the whole femur, but it's kind of this wide.
That'll be cool. So it was broken before preservation.
Yeah.
That'd be neat to check for tooth marks and stuff back in the lab.
Exactly.
See who
and
was chewing on it.
really nicely preserved. This is an interesting limb bone just morphologically because it's like only about this wide. And then at the end it's a huge ball.
Weird. What would that be?
Yeah, exactly.
Strange.
Then over here, I think this is probably like a tibia or a fibula. It's a much more kind of tapered. Again, it's broken. Very clean end, but broken. But yeah, this one you have like a ball on a stick. This is like a nice smooth tapered end. And in
That almost reminds me of
here-
like a tiny humor thing, just
Yeah.
based on the shape right there under the plaster.
But then underneath we have like an element that's kind of this shape.
Interesting.
Directly underneath this. Which we're really struggling to identify. I was thinking maybe it could be like a left ischium, perhaps, like just if it was still in the iguanodont family.
Right, yeah.
I've seen Don was, he didn't say no, but his like possibly was very disbelieving.
Right, okay.
I
Seems like a
saw
long
a
shot.
paper about like a duck-billed iguanodont in Chile a couple of years ago. There was lots of bone elements, and it did look a little bit like the premaxilla there.
Oh.
But it would, not
would
sure
be
about the
wild
size.
if you had a- yeah.
That would be awesome, and it didn't sound. I mean, I
Yeah.
might be just grasping at things there. I
Right.
would trust Dawn a lot more than me on this.
And field identifications
Yeah.
can be not just preliminary, but
And also
often very
the whole
optimistic.
thing.
You know, it's like a lot of wish casting.
It'll be exciting, hopefully, once we get this out to see the field bottom side.
Nice.
So hopefully that will not be too.
Yeah, you'll get that in a few days, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stay late and keep at it. So it'll be as
Laura's been
quick
doing
as
that a
possible.
ton, just like staying until well after sunset, just working in the quarry. And we're like, where is she? She's back in the quarry. But that's how it goes. You find a really good bone, and you just kind of can't tear yourself away from it sometimes. You
Yeah,
just want to be able to
absolutely.
see what the rest of it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to see what it's like.
Yeah. Nice.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah. Next couple days, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we've got Christa Sadler here too.
Hi.
Just showed up last night. It's good to see you, Christa. And,
It's good to see you too.
yeah,
It's good to be here.
But we've been talking up this book for months now at this point,
I
and
know, and thank you
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much. It's like my garage thanks you.
so we were supposed to do an interview about this in April or May, and then stuff just kept getting away from us. And this is here in person, so
So
this
now
is
I'm
great.
here actually digging at one of the sites that's featured in the book. So that's good. And they're not letting me do anything that would be dangerous. I'm just taking away overburden. This is about 75% of any paleontology
Right, yeah.
work is
Just moving
taking
all the
away
crud on
overburden.
top, yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
keeping it clean, trying to see what's here. There's been a few little bits of bone and plant material, but nothing that, is attached to anything else. So just going down towards the bone level, which looks like I still have a little ways to go if I'm going to join Laura and everything. But anyway, so.
What's funny too is that we just got Christa hooked up with the satellite internet a little while ago, and she was looking at all these different people who had ordered the book, and I'm like, I recognize that name.
Yeah.
And I think I recognize that name from a Twitch username, and we won't name any names, but thank you to everybody who's purchased it already.
Yes,
Holy cow.
thank you to everyone who's purchased it, because I keep getting these, people from Belgium and people from England. I'm like, oh, how is that happening? And it's Danny and all of you. Thank you.
So let me go run and grab the book real quick, and maybe we'll find a
gonna
good place to sit down and
Keep
do a little chatting. Yeah. Let's go get that. Let's see. Lady Elaine says I need to get a copy once I have the funds. Yeah, it's great. Honestly, like my favorite kind of paleo book is one that's just about a specific topic and just kind of tells you everything there is to know about it. And beautifully illustrated and figured, gorgeous photos. Yeah. This is definitely one to get hold of if you can manage. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be talking about this a bunch, but let me just say it for the first of 500 times today. If you personally, you'd love to be able to read this book, but don't feel like you can afford it, that's totally fine. Maybe ask if your local library can get hold of a copy for you. That way everybody else in your town can enjoy it as well. We should have a link pinned to the top of the chat, I think, with a little guide. I found a quick guide online for how to request a book at your local library. And so it would be wonderful if a bunch of people can do that. Because we're really trying to get this book out there into the world. And I don't know, everybody who works in the Cedar Mountain Formation, we're so eager to see people in the general public get excited about our work. As scientists, we pour a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into making these discoveries, collecting these data, interpreting them, getting it published, all of that stuff. And it can kind of feel like we're just... The general public doesn't get to enjoy this. If folks are completely unaware of this work, if it's only known to specialists, then it's not great, So, yeah, the reason why many of us do this kind of work in the first place is, we want everybody to know about it. We're making these cool discoveries, and we're tremendously privileged to be able to do that, and it's great to be able to share that with the world. So this book is currently, I think, pretty much the best way of doing that about the Cedar Mountain Formation. So, again, I'm real excited about it, if you can't tell. Yeah. And... Let me talk about this real quick first, because I think I can answer your question about how we find the bones in the first place. Set this here. Oh, there we go. So again, this is a bone that I found yesterday, already been capped and everything. It looked like this when I first found it. Peeled away some of the rock on top. But what we do is we're digging down through these layers and then peeling off these chunks of rock, and then here is a bone that I found just before we started stream today. The end of it is already all crunched up. This will be really interesting to look for bite marks on too. We might have some croc bite marks. So you can see how there's matrix in there. There's some of this mudstone is inside that broken end. That shows that this is an ancient break, that before this thing already broken. But so just peel away bits of rock like this on top, and there you go, you got fresh bone surface right there. So maybe when we're done with the interview, we'll come back here and we'll see if we can expose the rest of it, see what guessing. But you never know, could be something else. Could be part of a limb bone, pelvic, like an ischium or something, but I'm guessing it's probably a rib, just because, in a vertebrate skeleton you got a lot of ribs. So, yeah, Clayton's nodding. Lots of ribs.
Yeah. Lots of ribs.
Yeah, but, it's important. Gotta get them ribs, as a wise man once said. It's a reference. Never mind.
Desert heat's cooking your brain.
Yeah. So does that answer your question there, Stink? Let's see. And Cosmological Kev says, would bones weaken and break before they become fossils? Or would they break after they were fossilized due to the rock shifting over time? Both can happen. Yeah. So you're talking about what we call diagenesis, I guess? Yeah. We actually have somebody here in the quarry who could talk about this with far greater authority than could I. Selena, do you want to talk about diagenesis for a minute? Like fossils form and all this stuff that can happen to them during that process or after?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diagenesis is part of the fossilization process.
Uh-huh.
So,
yeah.
the study of fossilization is called like taphonomy.
Taphonomy, yeah.
So from time of death to burial and exposure, that's taphonomy. And as
Right.
part of that process, you have like necrolysis and decaying of the bone and everything. And prior to burial, sometimes you have breakage of the bone, whether or not it was part of the result, like an organism died on the landscape and another organism met, or
whatever.
something else
Yeah.
stepped on it, or it got reworked into something else, and that broke in that way.
Right.
Happen. But basically, a bone has to be buried at a certain point in order to fossilize, to come into contact with groundwater.
Right.
Through that process, the bone can either recrystallize, meaning the original mineral dissolves and reprecipitates, or it can be permineralized, meaning the pore spaces in the fossil, like in our bones or like the bone marrow.
Got like
or
that kind of honeycomb sort
the
of texture
honeycomb,
almost.
that gets infilled with mineral.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it just gets infilled with mineral and the original apatite is still fairly pristine, hasn't been altered too much. In general, it will alter some, usually because you'll lose the organic matrix, but the original apatite, our
Right.
bones are made of apatite, which is a calcium phosphate mineral, will remain. So, and so that entire process of fossilization starts off with death, necrolysis, burial, diagenesis.
Right.
The
yeah.
end. The end.
And so even after a bone can be buried and permineralized, fossilized, other stuff can happen to it too. Have you ever seen any examples of crazy, changes occurring? Like, I think I remember seeing somewhere there was a bone that was like cut in half by a fault. So there's just one half that's
that happens.
yeah.
I mean,
Like a half
like
meter
we were,
above.
we were just out with Lindsay Zano's crew from North Carolina State
Yeah.
University and the North Carolina Museum of Nature and Science, and core site in the Strait Cliffs formation, and there's like just roots through everything, which
Shoot.
is really annoying.
Yeah.
But
So
the bone
modern-
is fossilized.
modern roots,
Yeah, it's modern roots.
So there's modern plants that are sending their roots down into the ground and just, they kind of seek out the bones almost.
They do,
right?
because phosphate's a limiting nutrient for plants, especially in a dry desert conditions. And so
Yeah.
a lot of paleontologists know the term root rot, because
Yep.
you get like a bone just covered in roots, and you're like, oh man.
It just crumbles to
That's
dust
not really what we
sometimes,
say, but
Yeah. It's usually a bit more salty than that.
a
but
little saltier.
Yeah.
Is that why you have a I hate plants t-shirt?
Enough plants. They're very useful. I just hate when they're on the or covering the bone. So yeah, that one, like, I found a nice like dermal bone, either a spike or it wasn't an osteoderm. It was probably like a side spike. And I was clearing it off, and there's a clear break, and then it continued on, and there's like a root between the clear break. So that was like a post-fossilization break. So you can have post-fossilization breaks, and you have pre-fossilization breaks.
Yeah.
We found a couple of little bitty, tiny vertebrae here that were basically sheared in half. But there's like, mineral, just kind of like yours.
Just like
over
matrix
there.
on either side of it,
with matrix
yeah.
on either side, but you
Yeah.
can tell they probably would have fit together.
Yeah.
So that probably would have been a pre-fossilization break.
Gotcha.
So bone
Yeah.
broke, got buried, fossilized.
Right.
So
And sometimes you can tell whether or not the bone was broken shortly after death or maybe long after. I've read that like spiral fractures.
so spiral fractures. So usually when a fracture is perpendicular to the long axis of the bone,
Yeah.
that's like a post-fossilization break.
Gotcha.
But if it's at an angle,
Here's an example
Oh,
of
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
like a bone fragment. Like I could tell it was kind of a fragment. You see the broken end, but then when
Yeah.
you look here, you see that there's matrix filling up
There you go.
that spot right there. I mean, that's a little broken there, but that's what made me think, oh, this is just a chunk. I don't need to save it.
Gotcha.
Because when I see that bone, that matrix right there.
Yep. That's not like you
Inside.
accidentally dug through it or something.
Right,
it's like
right.
That's
So it
what it was
happened,
like.
and
for the
all,
past
you know, it's a
hundred
little
years.
worn.
you can see it's kind of at an angle as
Yeah.
well.
And so it's probably a chunk of long bone that got
Stepped on or
stepped
tumbled.
on and
or,
trembled. And of course,
I
we
mean-
know that the sauropods stepped here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe a sauropod stepped on it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's interesting taphonomically trying to understand like the origin of this bone site.
Sure. Yeah.
Those kind of things to note are important,
Uh-huh.
but can't identify what.
Cool. Thanks, Selena.
Bone fossilization.
Yeah. Nice. So that's Selena works on as like a geochemist who works in paleontology. The world authorities on this subject, and you just got to talk to her on stream, which is pretty cool. Did we just get a big raid or something? What's with all these emotes? Let's see here.
Did you ever see that?
Oh, maybe not. Yeah. And Germ says, I've caught a couple of Selena's geochem talks, and she is hugely knowledgeable. I know, right? That's really cool. Yeah. And Carvalho says, on the other hand, can plant life in a desert be an indication of a potential dig site? Not necessarily. Like, I don't know. It's not like you find a bunch of plants and you go, oh, there's bones there. It might just be that, like, you've got, that might be a spot where water collects, or
it has more to do with water or other nutrients, but
yeah,
it could be bones.
Yeah.
You gotta look at the rock though
to
figure out if you're gonna have bones.
Right.
It needs to be sedimentary. Needs to be the right kind.
Right.
Uranium is often a good indication of fossils.
In the Morrison Formation or the Cedar Mountain, from what I understand.
The Chinle.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Chinle too. Okay.
You see it around the trees. Around the petrified wood.
Interesting. So those are just like a hot spot for. They kind of soaked up that uranium-laden groundwater.
They collect it. It precipitates out around these, around the trees. So,
interesting.
I know.
The Chinle Formation is Triassic in the Americans, and Christa wrote the book on that too, literally.
A book. Not the book.
Dawn of the Dinosaurs, which I've showed off on stream before. It's in my library back home.
Yeah, I basically am just. So I think we talked about this before. I was trained as a paleontologist, and I did it for a while, but I just decided that I never wanted to settle on any one thing.
Yeah.
So I just okay, I'll go write books about other people's work, and then just be able to go out in the field with them and learn about all these different time periods. And so now I'm supposed to. Jim keeps telling me now I have to do Dawn of the Jurassic. I'm like, okay, no more dawns, Jim. But he wants me to Moenavi, Kayenta, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's first. All those guys. I mean, it's a real super fascinating period.
It would be really cool.
First bigger dinosaurs and things like that. But
So do you want to talk about the book here? Should we go to another shade spot? There's a spot by the wheelbarrow.
Sure.
But
if
I don't know if
shady
it's
up there. That'd be great.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Let me grab the book here. That way we won't be too disruptive in the quarry. Just yapping about this.
All right. Can I do this without
I might go up this way.
stepping on anything important?
Yeah. All right. Would you like to hold the book before I drop it?
Oh, sure.
Thanks.
Well, this isn't that beat up.
More so than I would like for a signed copy. I asked Christa to bring me a second copy, so I can keep it pristine. But she sent me this one in the mail. It was what, like beginning of May, something like that?
Yeah, end of April, beginning of May. I know you were one of the first people to.
Yeah. I was excited. Still am excited. Let me set up the camera over here.
Oh, this is nice.
I know, right? Yeah.
The breeze, Paleontology is not for the weak of heart, man, or the weak of body.
True. Many of us are weak-hearted, you know.
Yeah,
but
weak-hearted is fine.
we make up for it with bodily strength.
Like, man, all these weird positions. Yeah, if you want to go out and do paleo in the field, definitely do like yoga and contortion classes before you go, because you're always like.
Yeah, we used to call it quarry yoga with Museum of the Rockies, when you're like on your back underneath a Triceratops sacrum jacket, and you're trying to hold the plaster up as it dries. It's like dripping into your ears and stuff. Oh boy. Did a lot of that in Wyoming this year with our hadrosaur site. But yeah, anyway, if anybody's just joining us, welcome to Paleontologizing. We're digging here with the Utah Geological Survey in the Cedar Mountain Formation. And author Christa Sadler just published a book all about the Cedar Mountain Formation.
There it is.
And I'm going to encourage you to order this book because it's really great, and Christa needs to sell these copies.
Yeah,
and
my warehouse / garage needs some more space. No, what I hope, obviously, I would love to, have people order the book and I could make my money back. But really, what I really hope is that people will read it and realize, like, what an amazing
it's incredible
formation this is.
Uh-huh.
And this is from a formation that 30 years ago people are like,
there's no dinosaurs there.
no dinosaurs there.
Yeah.
It's not very interesting. And
Turns out
crazy.
there's more dinosaurs from the Cedar Mountain in Utah than
almost any other. Maybe the Caparowits, but maybe not.
I want to say that the plurality, at least, of Utah's dinosaurs come from the Cedar Mountain Formation.
It's
Different
more
taxa have
than
been named.
doubled the number of dinosaur taxa
Yeah.
from Utah. So,
That would be the plurality then, at least, if not the majority.
yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. At least ones that are known from Utah first. They've got a lot of stuff in the Morrison that's also known from Colorado and Wyoming,
Right.
but this is Utah and only Utah. you know?
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah.
formation is literally, there's like 12 miles of it in Colorado that basically has no fossils
really?
in it. Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
it
Okay.
goes a tiny bit over towards Rabbit Valley, but basically this is a Utah original. And, to have this not extremely widespread formation, and it's not very thick. I mean,
Right.
the most,
I think we've got a picture in
it
there, right?
ever gets is like 700 feet, and that's just in a few places. Mostly the average is like 300 feet thick, and you think about things like the Navajo sandstone, which is 2,500 feet thick,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the Caparowits, which is something like 3,000 feet thick. And yet this tiny little formation represents what might be like 42 million years worth of Earth history.
It's
which is
crazy
really
long. Yeah.
So that's why I hope people buy the book.
Yeah.
to
You've got
learn
a
about
picture
this
in there
amazing-
of some exposures, right?
Well, yeah.
Toward the beginning, I think there was. We showed this the other day when we were talking with Jim.
All right, you better find it then. 'Cause I
think it's right toward the beginning. Yeah. Yeah.
What did I write?
Let's see here.
Yeah, you compare it to some of the other
There we
stuff
go.
in Utah.
This is.
Oh, that's right around here.
Yeah, there we go.
And that's the other one's Utah Raptor. Yeah, that's sort of from right around here. And most of what's in this picture isn't even the Cedar Mountain Formation.
Right, there's Morrison in
at
there.
the bottom, and then there's
Natarita at the top.
Mancus. There's Natarita, Mancus, and then up into the Book Cliffs, which is which is all late Cretaceous and beyond. So yeah, it's and it's not one of those formations that you look at. When people are driving around Moab, they're like, "Oh, it's so beautiful! It's so glorious!"
Falling over.
And the red rocks and the beautiful cliffs, and then they get up on the plateau as they're heading towards I-70, and you're going through the Cedar Mountain, and everybody's like, "This is kind of boring,"
You don't get any like big, giant, spectacular red hoodoos or anything like that.
exactly,
It's
or
just-
something like that. So
But you do
it's-
get things like Utah Raptor,
Yes.
Gastonia, Mierosaurus, our new iguanodon. So I think that's even cooler.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I got a chance to go to Utah Raptor State Park for the first time the other day, and they were all sold out of this book. You said you brought them more copies?
They have 2 more boxes, so they have
Excellent.
22 more copies of it now.
Beautiful,
so,
beautiful.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's what this is. This picture, which was done.
Andrea Tuchin?
Yeah, he did it for the book.
Yeah,
And this
take a
is a
look at that.
reconstruction of the Dalton Wells quarry. So these are things that have been found at Dalton Wells, and they think Dalton Wells is probably like debris flow deposits. So we've got these massive thunderclouds. Rising
cool.
in the
Yeah.
back to presage the debris flows. And then they saw this from the book and asked, they said, "Oh, can we use that at Utah Raptor State Park?" And I said, "Well, get in touch with Andre." So he sold it to them. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
It's really cool. It's like when you go to the state park, there's like a giant decal thing on the window. It's like almost life size, I feel. Maybe not quite. But it's really spectacular. And it's the cover of the book, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really wanted, Yes, Utah raptor is pinning a Hippodraco or Hippodraco-like iguanodontian, but so much of what you see about Utah raptor is like, it's just ripping into something's throat.
Right, yeah.
There's like, gore flying everywhere. And
like just scraping their guts out with their claws.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted, like, my favorite picture, I think, in the whole book, I'll see if I can find it. It's for the Gaston Quarry, for the upper. So I asked the artist, James Cuther, so I don't know if you can see very well, but this is, and this is Utah raptor curled up and sleeping with its head under its wing like a chicken.
It's having a nice little nap.
And because I looked, it was not only a vicious killing machine.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, so it was kind of fun to be able to create the artwork for.
Seriously, yeah, and
Well,
just kind of run counter to some of those tropes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very thoughtful. Like that's, I don't know.
There are a couple of ripped apart sauropods and things
Sure,
like that in places.
But that's what we see in the quarry, and we find tooth marks on bones and stuff,
Exactly.
like result of predation and scavenging and all that. So, yeah, it wasn't all sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows back in the Cretaceous.
No.
There's some blood and guts too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
A little.
No, one of the things that I really appreciate about this book too is that it's written in such a way that anybody can understand it, anybody can really get something out of it. This is members of the general public, and this is paleontologists too. I mean, it's difficult to reach that kind of a balance in writing where you're not getting too technical, but you're also not talking down to the audience. Like,
I try to do that whenever I can. I feel like people are a lot smarter than we give them credit for, even if they're not paleontologists.
Yeah.
But I also would like paleontologists who don't really know anything about this formation or this time period or the western interior of North America to be able to read this and get something out of it instead. It was pretty simplified and boring. I didn't need that. So thank you. I'm glad I sort of reached that point. A friend of mine a long time ago with another one of my books, but I think it qualifies here. She said, "Oh, this is great. It's a coffee table book with a brain."
Because it really is. Like, it's a large format book, and you've got these beautiful illustrations and paintings
and the thing is that
figures, photographs.
That's it for me. Like, I am just like everybody else in that I want to see pictures. This is where we're working right now.
Yeah, there we go.
Dolan's Bowl.
There's poor Mierosaurus getting mired there.
Like, this is not a good day. Oh, and this was something else I asked Jim Cuther to do.
Yeah.
So these are two Yurgavuchia, which is that little early raptor that Dawn found here. And I think of them as, well, Yurgavuchia means coyote in the Nuchu, the Ute language. And but I think of them as, rather than these, horrifying, massive predators, they're probably eating whatever they can.
Right,
and I remember seeing
turtles.
two ravens once down by the Colorado River tossing a frog back and forth between them, and I thought, let's have them pulling on a turtle. So I asked if he could do that.
That's great, yeah. Not great for the turtle, but
yeah, not great for the turtle.
They look like they're having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and there's our iguanodonts in the background.
Yes, there's the iguanodonts.
Yeah, and so interesting that there's a thumb spike on them.
Yeah,
we're not sure about that.
Yeah, we're not sure. Some people think nope, and other people think it could have been.
Well, we might have an answer for that now. Did we tell you about this?
No.
So we had what looked like maybe a digit 1 ungule come out of the quarry the other day while Karen was here, and it looks like a claw. Does not look like a thumb spike. So if we're right with our field ID, that means that these guys had a Camptosaurus-like thumb with the claw on the end rather than the full-on spike.
The full-on spike.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see if that turns out to be what it is.
Yeah.
But
and it's that's the other thing about doing something like this is that the second you send it off to the printer, something changes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not accurate
Well,
anymore.
that being the case, though, this is super up to date. Like, you've got, you had Iani in there, that new iguanodontian dinosaur. Do you have Photna in there too?
Photna's in there too.
That just came out like last year, right?
Yeah, I was able to there's this is one of my favorite illustrations in the whole book, if I can find it. This one, which is the dinosaurs of Utah, showing.
Yeah, this is one of Jim's.
We sort of
prides and
modified
joys.
Jim tends to do illustrations that are
very detailed.
somewhat detailed, yeah. So
One might say busy.
Yeah, a little busy, a little chaotic. I decided to just have the dinosaurs, and we make the colors and the fonts and everything go with the book, but at the very last minute, literally like
magnifying glass, yeah.
3 days before I was sending it off to the press, we changed Photna to, instead of hypsilophodontid, or unidentified hypsilophodontid,
You actually fit the name in there,
Yeah.
which is, that be Cinnamon Mustn't Touch It.
Yeah, and I can't
Right
read
there,
from
Photna,
here.
right there.
Yep.
Yeah, F-O-N-A,
Yeah.
pronounced Photna. So yeah.
So that was fun.
I love that this figure is in here too.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
Because we've looked at this a million times on stream before, and Jim always talks about it. Having it in the book is really neat.
I wish we could have made it. I would have loved to have had some like big fold out that
Yeah,
went
yeah.
vertically, but I'm not going to have the money for that.
And you also have, if you turn to the back cover, there's that sailbacked iguanodont there.
Yeah.
That guy's not been named yet. So this is a dinosaur that doesn't have a name. We've known about it for probably 20 years now, maybe longer.
Yeah.
I think the specimen's at BYU, Brigham Young University.
Big, long vertebral processes,
Yeah.
and it's pretty cool. So, let's put him in there. Now, this is Cedarosaurus and not Moabosaurus.
Okay,
Moabosaurus
okay.
is more common at the Dalton Wells Quarry, but
This guy's a little bit more impressive, or are they the same thing potentially?
No, Cedarosaurus is a brachiosaur, and Moabosaurus
It's a
is a
turriosaur.
turriosaur.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, just leave it as Cedarosaurus. It was there, leave it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have we have a good skeleton of Moabosaurus in here. So
Nice. Yeah. Let me get some water too. But anybody, if you have any questions for,
you want some of this?
I've got my water bottles are right there. But thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, if anybody's got any questions for Christa, now is the time.
Now is the time for me to make up something.
Oh, and StarMe006 says, say hi to me. Say hi from me to Christa. I'm the person who sent her email about some errors.
Oh yeah.
This isn't not errors in the book, but
No, they were. Well, it's so.
Shoot.
No, so what happened is, and I was gonna put a little slip in, and then I just went, eh. One of the biggest things was that in the theropod, so I've got all these family trees in here, right? Which I think is really important because you're starting to see, the beginnings of some of these groups. And anyway, so I did not notice this when I was looking over the tree, and nobody else did either. But it, instead of saying Tyrannosauridae, it goes to Oidea again.
Interesting.
So it's not incorrect.
It's not as specific as it could be. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then
That's
there's
funny.
some questions about Shiats because nobody agrees on where it
Sure.
stands. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Kind of a mystery
but
critter. And again, if anybody would like to purchase the book, I'm just going to keep saying
Yeah,
this.
thank you.
thisearthpress.org, right?
No, com.
.com. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We've got a link in the chat.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
also, if you are ordering it from overseas, meaning even Canada, anywhere other than the U.S., you can't really. You can use the PayPal link, but you're not going to be paying enough for
shipping?
And the shipping, unfortunately, to UK, Belgium, it's high. But just let me know. I can find out. I use the cheapest shipping I can, pirate ship.
Yeah.
And,
Nice.
And I can just send you an invoice but yeah, sorry about that. I wish I had some control over the U.S.
It's a substantial
Postal
book
Service.
too, so it's
Yeah,
like
it is. It's almost 4. It's 3.5 pounds.
Yeah. Let's see. We had a question about how much mustn't touch it talk is in the book.
Oh well, there's
a good amount.
Whole
Yeah.
chapter about it.
Yeah.
The chapter 8, I believe, and the mustn't touch it is.
It's for the uninitiated. The mustn't touch it is a member of the Cedar Mountain Formation. It's from way up. It actually goes into the late Cretaceous.
Yeah, it's actually late Cretaceous. It's not quite the dawn of the Cretaceous at this point. But yeah, this whole chapter, and because the mustn't touch it it's just an extraordinary number of different taxa of things in it.
A lot of
and
micro
now-
critters, yeah.
Yeah, and not all of these are per se from the Mustn't Touch It, but they're examples of things that they might have only found through teeth or something
Right,
like that,
yeah.
like a pycnodontid fish, or we actually do have the earliest, I think it's the earliest trionickets.
Oh, really? Softshell turtle.
I think
Very
yeah,
cool,
I think
yeah.
it's amazing what happens.
They become so common in the late
yeah.
Cretaceous.
Yeah, exactly.
You find
And
trionickets
so-
everywhere, so that's cool. It's the
Yeah.
first one.
So we have,
Yeah.
and this guy, Albinurpaton, is actually from the Mustn't Touch It. It's an early
Oh, neat.
salamander.
It's a beautiful
So,
illustration.
Yeah, there's Emily Willoughby. She's amazing. I'll give her a shout out. Lizard teeth. So yeah, there's a whole chapter about the Mustn't Touch It, and then a discussion. Each chapter, I also kind of discuss the paleogeographic and paleobiogeographic connections, or how that all fits in, like what was going on here, right? We've got in the yellow cat, we've got critters that are all more related to things in Europe, right?
Right, yeah.
England and Portugal and places
Kind of
like
a
that.
Wealden fauna, as Jim likes to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Wealden fauna. And so, I talk about that, and what does that suggest? And it does suggest that, probably there was still a close enough connection to Europe.
Like a land bridge, yeah.
The Atlantic Ocean had not opened up enough yet, whether it was like a straight across, you could walk across, or you could island hop or whatever. And then by the time you get to the Mustn't Touch It, that's long gone.
Right.
And now we're connected to Asia. So we're
Yeah.
starting to see all these Asian, the Asian connection. So
It's really neat how you can make those metaphorical connections, just by looking at the fauna. Once you have enough fossils from around the world and you have them stratigraphically in their proper context, be like, okay, why did this group show up suddenly in the late Cretaceous? Like, land bridge from Asia at the time.
yeah,
and
I mean, there's not too many other possibilities, right? If these creatures aren't flying and they're not swimming, and so when you all the possibilities that could allow for Asian creatures to come over here, and vice versa. That's kind of the main one. And
Yeah.
so it's such a great connection between geology, biology, paleontology, just the whole thing.
And what's really neat is we don't often have like really good paleo maps for a lot of these areas at these times. So like oftentimes the dinosaurs are the clue for, there has to have been a land bridge at this time, because suddenly you have all these Asian taxons showing up in North America.
Right.
And so it's cool how like dinosaur science can be at the forefront of making a map of the ancient Earth like that.
Yeah.
It's
It
neat
is.
stuff. Yeah.
It's not just looking at rock types and
Exactly,
faults
yeah.
and things like that, but bring the fossils in. I mean, that goes all the way back to the beginning of plate tectonics,
Yep.
where
Yeah.
Lystrosaurus, right, this squatty little critter about the size of a cat with little short legs, very not an oceanic, ocean-going creature.
It's like a little sausage with legs.
Yeah, and they found India and South America and Africa,
Antarctica. Yeah.
and what's the other one? Australia. It's
yeah.
been found in all, and so that was like one of the pieces of evidence that helped support the idea that all of those continents had been together. In the
Right,
past. It's like,
yeah.
It's one little squatty critter. So
Lystrosaurus is pretty cool.
yeah,
but,
it's really cool.
yeah. We had another question for you, and it was, this might be a publishing term or something, I'm not sure. What was the brief given for the book, and what did you want to add yourself? Is that like, what is the basic idea for the book? Or?
I'm not sure what they mean, but basically this was, so Jim Kirkland asked me to do this because a lot of my books I've done. I did a book on the late Triassic, the Chinle Formation, but sort of the Chinle wherever we find it in this region. And then I did the late Cretaceous in Grand Staircase.
Yeah.
And so Jim, whom I had known from doing those books, because I would periodically call him and, okay, I've got 5 extra hours. I love Jim. So we would, we'd talk. Anyway, so he wrote to me and said, I'd really like you to write a book about the Cedar Mountain Formation. So, the great thing about geology is that it can be very linear, right? And I want my books to tell the story of a formation, so therefore, I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up to the top. The stuff, so that made sense. or
Yeah.
just use. And then I always want to put in, like, the first few chapters are a thing about geology or paleontology. So there's a chapter on just a little bit on how do fossils form? What are fossils?
Right.
Different kinds of rocks. Geologic time. And that chapter in this book is pretty, I put a lot in it because the dating is, dating's always huge in all these formations, but it has been crazy with this formation, from where we used to think that it was, the whole thing was no older than 125 million.
Sure. Yeah.
And now with all these different dating techniques, and it's just great. So I added all that into that chapter.
And I really appreciate that. Like, it's so cool to have a basic primer on a lot of these subjects for somebody who's completely uninitiated. Like, you can dive into this book without any background in paleontology, geology, whatever, and you'll emerge with a basic understanding of how these things work. Like, that's
my hope.
Yeah. No, I think you've succeeded.
Because I teach. I teach in sort of outdoor settings, and I teach geology and paleontology, and so one of the questions I get all the time is, okay, how do you know the rock is that old, right?
Yeah.
And then you're on the trail with your backpack on, because these are often backpacking trips or river trips, and you're trying to explain, radiometric dating.
Yeah.
And, it's like, it's easier to do it in a book. So anyway, so that's, that was something I added. And then I don't think Jim would have cared one way or the other, but to me it was really important to do the profiles of the researchers. Because, I want people to understand who some of these people are, I'm a huge fangirl. I'm like, woo, Selena's here, yay! So, and Dawn, and when I see Jim, it'll be great. But it's such a great group of people.
It really is, yeah.
I started out in a slightly different discipline in the field in college.
Paleoanth?
And it was paleoanthropology. And I'm not going to speak badly about all paleoanthropologists, but the people I was working with were just kind of like, okay, this is just not,
It makes me very proud as a non-paleontologist, being like, you know what, I guess we're okay.
Yeah, no, paleontologists are cool. And it was fun to be one, and it's fun now to just be like a poser and hang out with all you guys.
Poser, please, this is super important work. Like, I don't know. Jim keeps talking about, like, as many of you have heard a million times, dawn of the Cretaceous national fossil beds.
Yeah.
And he's like, this book could be our ticket to getting that done.
I hope so.
If we
That
can
would be
have
really
more
cool.
public interest in the Cedar Mountain Formation, if we have public will to create a national monument here, that would be incredible, So
yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It would. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, but but it could happen.
We'll
it
see,
could still
yeah.
happen. That's with people.
Politics
like
can
you.
change quickly too,
Yeah, politics
So,
can
yeah.
change quickly. So, anyway,
They better.
so that question that you asked about, what did I want to add? I wanted to add the profiles, and the images to me are incredibly important. Originally, this was going to be published by Indiana University Press, but we just kind of came, we disagreed on how many images, even though I was going to have to pay for them, and they're really important to me because it's almost more than any other discipline. Paleontology is the definition of a picture tells 1,000.
Yeah, it really
worth
is.
1,000 words. So.
Yeah.
So this is actually not just like a 70,000 word book. It's actually millions of words with all those pictures.
The pictures, yeah. We had another question in here. Oh, actually, somebody who knows you, I think, from Nelf in the chat. Danny, could you say hi to Christa for me? I worked several seasons with her on ecotourism expedition ships in Baja California.
Oh, who is it?
A small world Neil? I don't know what that means, but
I think. Oh my gosh! Hi. Yes. I know.
small world. Shoot.
Hi. Yes.
So maybe we could talk a little bit about your background outside of paleo too, because you're like a world-class adventurer. I mean,
I don't know about that.
Your living though.
It is how I make my living.
Yeah.
I have a hard time sitting still.
So I appreciate you talking to us about the book today. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, I studied, paleoanthropology and then geology and paleontology and got my master's in paleontology. But I really realized that a couple things about myself. I am really happiest when I'm outside. I love to be outside. And I didn't want to go get a PhD and really focus down on one thing and then kind of end up in the whole publisher parish or,
that academic rat race.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I decided, and I've always loved writing. And, so between wanting to help people understand the natural world, so on the trips that Neil mentioned, I worked in Baja California and then also up in Alaska on a little cruise ship that did natural history cruises. And I was one of the naturalists, and we'd lead hikes and give talks, and there were no dancing girls or anything like that. But my goal, I think, has always been I love this planet. It is so cool. We're so freaking lucky
Totally are.
to have, evolved.
Earth is pretty great.
And Earth is pretty great. And
top 5 planet for sure.
Yeah, definitely one of the top 5. And I just want people to understand it, because I think that the more you understand something, maybe the more you don't take it for granted.
Yeah, the more you'll want to protect it.
Yeah, exactly.
Appreciate it,
And
So
that's kind of what led to all of this. That and the fact that I can't sit still and I like being outside.
Yeah.
So, and then the writing just kind of came about from, it started with a little magazine, Plateau magazine for the Museum of Northern Arizona. They asked me if I wanted to write one on fossils of the Colorado Plateau.
Oh.
And then we turned that into a book, and then just kind of went from there. So it's my little niche that makes me no money, but it makes me very happy.
Well, it's making the world a better place.
Yeah,
It's made a lot of us very happy, and I think anybody who purchases it or gets it at their local library,
library, yes.
Yeah.
I wish that I wish that I was really wealthy, because I would still do this, but I would just give the book away and I would, give it to libraries and things like that. But unfortunately, since I self-published this, that doesn't happen.
Well, you at home can help get this into local libraries. We should still have that pinned message at the top of chat. But you could buy the book yourself or contact your local library and ask if they can get a copy, so you can share it with your whole community, people who live in your town, all that. Honestly, the more this book gets out into the general public, the more it's out in the world, the better it is for us here in this quarry and everybody working on the Cedar Mountain Formation.
Because there might be funding opportunities that will help fund the research, or help fund preparation of something like a Utah raptor block.
Exactly.
And maybe support for something like Dawn of the Cretaceous
National Fossil Beds.
Natural Fossil Beds. And so that's and this is I will acknowledge this is a very specific book. It is.
That's kind of the beautiful thing about it. It's you know what you're getting when you open this book. It's like, I'm going to learn everything there is to know about the Cedar Mountain Formation.
But like you said, you can learn about basic geology and paleontology. You can learn about geologic time, and you can also learn about what are theropods?
Yeah.
It's not just, everybody knows Tyrannosaurus Rex, but what are theropods, and how do raptors or dromaeosaurs fit in to the whole theropod tree and things like that. And so that stuff goes beyond just the Cedar Mountain Formation.
You could almost think of this book as it's like an introduction to paleontology and Earth history through the lens of the Cedar Mountain Formation.
Yeah.
It's using that as a teaching tool to be like, here's the history of life on Earth.
It's not going to be as much fun as your book. Your book's going to be a lot more useful.
We'll see. I don't know about that. Yeah.
Do you know about this?
I don't know if I've really talked about it on stream, but Chad, I've got an idea for a book that I want to do in the next couple of years, and so I was talking to Christa about that, picking her brain about the whole process. So, appreciate the advice and everything. I'll have plenty more questions, but Let's see what other questions we've got for you. We had some very complimentary things from some of the viewers.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see, what was this?
This is a really I'm old, right? And this is a really weird format for me.
It's
It's
a lot to take in.
New, and just the realization that there's a bunch of people out there from all over the world. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, I'm like, just.
Let's see, where was that? It was very nice.
Tea water.
We had a comment from Gravity 1963. Now I want the book. I'm not totally blind or uncultured about the topics, but I always love something that will complement what I already know.
Oh, well, I hope this will.
And also I worry about iPad kids. But books are a good thing to have around, and they're a good thing to encourage young people to read. And
there's something about
there is. It's hard to explain.
Turning pages and like the feel of it. It's a multi-sensory thing. It's not, you're not just sitting and staring. And I mean, I read on my iPad and my phone and my computer a lot, but
it's just not the same thing. For me, somebody who's got like a very spatial kind of memory, and like that's just kind of how I see the world. Being able to think about a concept and remember where I saw it in the book, it helps me retain it better. And you don't really get that with something like a PDF on an iPad or a phone.
I don't. I have to. I have to print them out.
Yeah.
And then it becomes.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I am old.
No, I'm right there with you.
I still write checks, people. So you know.
Now here's that comment from Carval. I have the utmost respect for people like Christa. The dedication, the enthusiasm, the knowledge. I'm in awe.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm definitely not a person you need to be in awe of, but the book is good. No, thank you. I mean, I really do love. I love what I do. So grateful. Training and enough experience in paleontology that I can write a book like this, and it's not occasional exception of Tyrannosauroidea for Teratophonias.
You could fix that with some whiteout.
Which again is not incorrect. It's just not as correct as it could be.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. Sometimes you read things, and you're just like,
how did that typo make it in there?
Wow.
Yeah. I've not seen one of those yet.
Well, no, but it's just like what sometimes people. If someone is a science writer but they're not a paleontologist and they're writing something this big, sometimes it's like it doesn't translate as well. And I'm really glad that I have this experience, and you know.
Not to blow too much smoke or anything, but like that kind of makes you the perfect person to write this book, and that you actually have a background in paleo, and
that's why I wanted to do it.
Yeah. I remember we were watching on stream a few months ago a documentary from like the early 90s with the AMNH crew in Mongolia, and I paused it on one from like, that's Christa.
Yeah. Yes.
So like you've been doing this for a long time,
I have.
and
I told
been
you
to a lot of really cool places. Yeah.
I went to Mongolia to with the Mark Norell and Mike Novacek and Luis Chapi.
Luis, who we saw yesterday. Yeah. Small world.
And that was 95. And that
nice.
It was a Nat Geo. The Nat Geo people were coming. They were sending a film crew and a magazine crew.
Nice.
And so Mark hired me. He met me actually on the ship that Neil mentioned.
Oh, cool. Okay.
He brought an AMNH group, and we started talking. And he wrote to me and said, "Do you want to come? We need somebody to be kind of a camp manager because we're going to have camps going all over the place." And I said, do I still get to go out and do the paleo? And he's like, oh yeah, I mean, that's why we'd like to have you. I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to be doing the cooking? And he said, no, we all cook. And I said, oh, you don't get like local Mongolians to do the cooking? Some expeditions do. And he said, oh God, no. Their idea of cooking is to blowtorch a goat.
Fair, yeah. Some people are into that. Yeah. Not me, but yeah.
Anyway, that was really fun. I would love to go back to Mongolia. It was an amazing place.
We had another comment with, let's see, what was that? Also from Gravity, thanks for telling the truth about Baja as well. The peninsula is beautiful and interesting as heck.
Oh, I love it there. In fact, if I decide to flee this country for reasons which we will not discuss on a paleontology thing, Loreto or some
Yeah.
other place in Baja is where I'm considering.
Nice,
So
nice, yeah.
it's gorgeous, yeah.
That's what I've heard. I've never been, not yet, but hopefully someday soon.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And let's see. For those of you just joining us, if anybody is coming in here and wondering what's going on, I'm interviewing Christa Sadler and trying to keep the camera from blowing over. Christa just published this new book, Dinosaur Frontier, Utah at the Dawn of the Cretaceous. So this is all about our work in the Cedar Mountain Formation and all the research going on the Cedar Mountain Formation here in Utah. Really important stuff.
And
this is
how incredibly important it is and how it relates to global situations, whether it's the position of the continents or oceanic and oxic events, or it's really cool that it connects to the larger picture.
Let's see, we had some shade in the chat about AI illustrations. None of
These are
no, all
I mean, Jim does do computer, let's see. So Jim Cuther does computer illustrations.
yeah, but that's very different. Like he's actually painting that in Photoshop
I think
or another
so.
program.
I don't exactly know how
Yeah.
he does them. But yeah, like
These are all
Andres
put together by
sketches it
human
out.
beings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were all put together by human beings.
Actual art
definitely.
by actual artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of these
Yeah,
are
like
phenomenal.
this is Jim
Yeah.
Cuther, and he definitely, his stuff, it's definitely computer generated.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the one that's kind of creating it.
It almost looks like he's working from 3D models and kind of
Yeah,
placing them in a tableau like that.
I don't know. I don't
That's
know how
some of the
he
work that
does
I do
his
is
work.
similar.
Yeah. And Andre's stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like Emily Willoughby's stuff is just gorgeous. I love hers. That's an Emily
yeah,
Willoughby,
yeah.
the Dromaeosaur family tree.
Really
I
lovely.
love this one.
That
I didn't
distinctive
have to,
style. Yeah.
So some of the artwork to be done, and then some I just found
Right.
and use it. And this was one of them where it's just really cool.
It is
that,
gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah. Really neat work.
And that's an Emily Willoughby as well,
Nice.
Utah Raptor.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah,
You're
yeah,
right
and
about
real
the
art,
AI
kudos.
stuff.
Yeah. It's
Wow!
good catch. Okay.
Good catch.
Thanks.
Goodness, there's a few clouds.
Okay, looks like it's still going. Are we back, chat? Let me know. Yeah, okay, nice. Beautiful. Sorry about that. I don't know how much you missed, but yeah. It's
Well-
15:23. This is about a minute ago.
Probably not that much.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I just asked Christa, like, what was her favorite part of writing the book? Like, which parts were the most fun to write?
Definitely the profiles.
Uh-huh.
And I like to put in people who are not just paleontologists. I mean, everyone is except for Rob Gaston, who, he's an artist.
Yeah, there we go.
He makes some of the most. He makes basically most of the reconstructions and reproductions of these fossils that you see. You'll see them in museums.
Mm-hmm.
You can see them for sale. But he's really good, and he also plays hugely into this story.
Absolutely,
having
yeah.
found the
Yeah.
Gaston quarry, and
The dinosaur Gastonia is named after him, yeah.
after him. So with Dawn of the Dinosaurs, I did a profile of Ron Blakey, who does all
Right,
these
the maps, yeah.
beautiful. If I can find one now, these really
There we go. Oh,
gorgeous.
you just had one
I
a
just
second ago,
had
yeah.
one.
It was just on the inside of the page, like away from the margin, so you couldn't see it.
Oh well, the
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the paleogeographic maps. I mean, he's basically the sort of the world's leader in making these maps, and so I did a profile of him in the Dawn of the Dinosaurs book. So I love the profiles because to me this field would not be what it is without the people.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Obviously, yeah.
If you had a bunch of jerks finding all these fossils, and
You'd be less keen to write those profiles.
yeah, exactly. And there are a few,
Yeah.
There's,
They didn't get profiles,
there's
so.
jerks in every field.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we actually had the opportunity to go do a live stream at Rob Gaston's workshop last summer,
Oh,
and that
nice.
was stellar. Holy cow, was that cool?
He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved going and touring around his whole workshop.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like a Santa Claus's workshop
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Willy Wonka's factory or something like that.
Yeah,
you know.
it's Willy Wonka, absolutely. There's just stuff everywhere, and you're like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, wow, what's this?" And he's just so calm, and
Yeah.
I gotta. Anyway.
The little museum that I'm working with in Fremont, California, we just ordered a ton of stuff from Rob, mostly
nice.
Pleistocene stuff, and it's
Nice.
starting to get delivered, and we're very excited about that.
Fun,
So
very
I'm going to
fun.
try and do a stream from there when I get home.
And
But,
that's something that, I mean, you guys probably already know this, but a lot of people don't understand that when they see fossils, when they go to a museum and they see exhibits, you're not seeing the original bones.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
every once in a while, you're seeing the original bones, but usually, even if that museum owns the original bones, they're back in the collection somewhere, being
in a safe
protected
place,
in a very safe place.
Humidity controlled,
And,
all that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there are professionals around the world who make these casts, and Rob is one of the best, and they'll make them the same color as the original fossil. All the cracks will be there, all of the, everything will be there.
It's an exact perfect reproduction,
Yeah.
but in something durable like resin, plastic, or something.
And it's also really valuable because sometimes if you're studying a particular dinosaur and you live in Luxembourg, something like that, you can't necessarily get over to the museum in New York that has the perfect, or all of the museums in the US that have those fossils. So you can actually use these casts for to do your research.
Yeah.
They're the same size. Unless they say they're a different size, but like I have a Therizinosaur
It should be an exact
claw.
copy.
I have a Therizinosaur claw that's like this long, and they say it's 2/3 original size.
Really?
Yeah.
How
Because
did they do that? That's weird.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
how does that work?
It should be this long.
Yeah.
So anyway.
That's funny. No, but that's also really important for research purposes when the original fossil was destroyed. Like that happened a number of times during World War II, where there were, I think especially in England during the Blitz, there were a number of different museums that got hit by stray bombs, and some of these fossils were destroyed, but we can still study them, and we have exact replicas, casts of the original. So I think there's a few plesiosaurs that are like that, and maybe a stegosaur too.
Yeah.
But making replicas is important stuff.
It's part of paleontology.
Yeah, and Rob is one of the best around,
Yeah.
so really cool that you've got that profile of him.
Nice
in your book.
guy too.
Yeah, Rob is great. Yeah, I was really hoping before we did that work, before we ordered all that stuff for the museum in Fremont, I was hoping I could just go there and like apprentice under him for 2 weeks or something and help make these things, learn his secrets, but it didn't work out that way.
It didn't work out.
I was too busy. Yeah, but yeah. And Kev says in the chat, the fact that everyone in this field of science has so much respect for everyone else involved, no matter what they do, just fills my heart.
Aw.
It is pretty nice, yeah. And
it is pretty nice. There's
we
some,
really only let nice people into this quarry too. Like there's some people that maybe wouldn't be quite as nice.
and there's some
but-
arguments and things like that. But,
yeah.
But yeah, I think that was one of the things that made me kind of do that little sidestep from my original field of study into paleo, is because every time I would hang out with these people, I was like, you guys are all really nice, and you all just, you get along, and so, yeah.
It's a good group of folks, for sure.
It is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think was the most challenging part about writing this book? Like, what was, apart from interpersonal stuff, because that's...
No. I mean, it's an interpersonal thing, but
Okay.
Obviously raising the money for it or finding
fair.
the money for it,
Yeah.
that was tough. But honestly, the hardest part about doing this book was working with Jim.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but he has a voluminous, his brain is 2,700 filing cabinets filled with information. Some of
And they
which-
all open at once
Yes,
sometimes.
and they all open at once, and some of it is related to what you want to talk about, and some of it is not. So I would, I'd like send him an email or something and say, hey, Jim, simple question for you.
Yeah.
42 pages and 17, articles later, he's trying to answer my question. I'm like,
And I think that comes from a place of passion where Jim is like just so excited about this. He wants you to know everything there is to know.
Absolutely, and yeah.
But it could be difficult sometimes.
I love Jim. I absolutely adore Jim, and I hope he is around with us for a very long time doing this research. He is truly one of the kindest people that I think I've ever met. Just wants to get the word out there, about paleontology. But it was challenging because I'm an extremely linear thinker. Jim was just like, kaboosh, So that was the most challenging part.
Chat knows this. Like, we'll ask Jim a question on stream and be like going in all these different directions, and you're just trying to absorb this information. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Chinese. And I'm like, but wait, I was asking about what? So
I've before, but I would really love to do a project where, like, in the state of Utah for a weekend and just record what he has to say about all the rocks and make like
that would be
Utah Board of
hilarious.
Tourism could distribute it or
That
something,
would be
but
hilarious.
like it's geotagged, so like you about these rocks. And,
The only problem with that is it would have to be a weekend.
true.
So,
Yeah. But
he's absolutely brilliant, and
he's the what is it, technical advisor for this
he
book?
is
What's the title?
He's the one that asked me to do it. I mean, obviously I got technical advice from, I don't know, it's in the acknowledgments, several dozen people, including Selena and Marina and Dawn. Dawn helped me a lot. Dawn is a little bit more linear like me, so after I got all the comments from Jim, I kind of added the ones I wanted and stuff like that, and then send it off to Dawn and say, could you read this? So I got obviously a lot of advice from everybody, but since this was Jim's idea, and he really was the main technical advisor for me in terms of, okay, what should we include, and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to honor, it's not a book about Jim,
but it's kind of a book that wouldn't exist without Jim.
Yeah, because
in a lot of ways.
There are people who, the people who started this research in the Cedar Mountain Formation long before Jim, Jeff Eaton and Rich Cifelli were out there running around the Muscatatucket, which at the time was just called the Cedar Mountain Formation, and they were finding all kinds of cool things. And but research might have stopped or only gone a little bit without the energy of Jim, and then all the people he's brought to this.
Right.
So, and one of the things I really respect about Jim, I mean, everybody has an ego. We all have egos, right? But he really wants other people to succeed in this field.
Yep.
And he will start someone's career and say, go fly.
Yeah.
And I remember...
The very opposite of gatekeeping. It's,
he wants to get the information out there. And he also said something that was so... I just loved it. I was here working in the quarry a while ago, and somebody said something about, well, I don't know if I agree with you on that, Jim, or whatever. And he said, great, prove me wrong. And it wasn't like, prove me wrong, you jerk.
No,
it was like, that's how
scientific
science
ideal.
works.
Yeah.
It's like, prove me wrong. Find the right answer, or find the better answer.
And I'll shake your hand afterward.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And I really, I respect that, and I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Jim is the reason why I'm out here. I mean, back in 2022, I was looking for field work that I could participate in and live stream from. And I sent an email out to Jim because I'd been at some conferences and stuff before, and it's a really good reputation among dinosaur paleontologists in general. And he's like, let me forward your email to Don DeBlue and get your details, and you come on out here. And it's been great. It's my fourth year out here.
Yeah.
So
4 years.
Yeah. I look forward to this every single year, and it's been a joy to be able to share that with everybody here too. So, yeah. And by the way, if anybody's just joining us, welcome back to Paleontologizing. I'm interviewing Christa Sadler about her new book, Dinosaur Frontier. Yeah, which is now out. I would say in stores, but you buy it straight from the website.
So I'm not. If anybody's looking for this on Amazon or Barnes and Noble or something, they're not going to find it. And part of that is because Amazon, those organizations take way too big a cut, and I basically would not make any money because I also have to pay for shipping. I would not make any money on. On per book. And so you can get it from, hey, get off of me, you.
Little ant.
Harvester ant. You can get it off my website. It's for sale in a few bookstores around here and museums around here, and I'm going to try and get it into more and more and more. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the thing about writing a book that's this big and dense and full of beautiful pictures and stuff, is that since there weren't corners cut, it's like you can't really afford to sell it for what Amazon is going to try and sell it for.
Right. And
It's too high quality for that, honestly.
and it's not super expensive.
Yeah, I was amazed. It's like $40.
It's $40,
I would think
yeah.
a book like this would be like at least 80.
Right, and it probably should be, but I also know that it's not going to sell. I can't sell it to a bunch of dirtbag paleontologists. So, yeah, it's not going to sell. I want this to get out to people.
Yeah.
I didn't do this to make money.
Yeah.
I'd love to make my money back, but it's okay. If I don't, I don't. I did this to get the information out, and so yeah.
And again, this is really important for our discipline too. Like all of us working in the Cedar Mountain Formation, the more public awareness there is of this work, the better things are for us. Like the more easy it will be to get funding, to be able to maybe get projects off the ground like Dawn of the Cretaceous National Fossil Beds, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm really eager to get this book out into the world as best I can. So that's why we're doing this interview, and why I'll encourage everybody watching, if you only buy one dinosaur book this year,
Wow.
I think it'd be this one.
Next
yeah.
year it'll be Danny's. And Danny's in here.
I'm in the book, yeah, believe it or not. Yeah.
He's got a couple quotes. The other thing I really like is that every chapter starts with a quote from one of the people I met, or one of the paleontologists.
Mine's from toward the back, if I recall.
Yours is towards the back.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put in a chapter on how paleontology has moved into the mainstream.
Yeah.
And it used to be just Jurassic Park movies, right?
Sure, that
And
was
they
people's,
were-
like the public's
right,
one like
movies,
general entree into
or,
the science.
or Land of the Lost, or whatever.
Sure,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
And I really appreciate how many different ways there are to get paleontological content now. And so I talked about, because I met Danny, I can't remember, it was 3 or 4 years ago.
I think it was probably the first year,
your
2022,
first year.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, he had this paleontologizing this thing, and I'm like, let's Twitch. I don't know. And I thought, okay, I'll put it in there, and probably by the time the book is published, he won't be doing it anymore, but whatever. And you're just, it's amazing. I mean, you
Still going.
are still
Yeah,
going and
yeah.
getting bigger and bigger, and really helping educate people who can't necessarily come out here.
Sure, yeah.
Or don't necessarily want to.
Yeah,
'cause
this
it's
isn't for
hot
everybody.
And dirty
Yeah.
and uncomfortable positions.
There's
And,
ants crawling on your legs.
There's ants crawling all over you. So, so it's some,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that you can't learn about it and enjoy it and experience, and that's what you do, which is just great.
It's a privilege to be able to do this. I mean, seriously. And I try to promote things that I know will be really good for our science, and this book is one of those things. So thank you for putting it together, seriously.
Well, thanks for helping promote it.
Are you okay going for a little bit longer, or do you want to get back to work?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, cool.
I'm used to being in uncomfortable positions and sitting.
It's the name of the game in field paleontology, yeah. Let me readjust the camera, too.
Straighten my back
But-
up a little bit.
Yeah, get a better angle for us like that. But yeah,
Move back too if you want to put it on a flatter part of it.
that should be fine, I think, as long as the wind doesn't get too bad. Yeah, we'll see. Cue the wind knocking it over in 30 seconds. But yeah, the Cosmological Kev says in the chat, I'm on holiday in 2 weeks and will go to the NHM in London and ask them why they do not have this book. Please do. No, seriously.
Please, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool early Cretaceous fossils in England. Like, it'd be cool for them to have that, a North American perspective on the early Cretaceous as well.
Yeah, because the foreword was done by David Norman.
Yeah.
Dr. David Norman, who is a luminary in paleontology, and he talks about how he studied the Wealden and he understood all that, but there was just always this big question: why isn't there anything in Western North America? Like there's a few things in the Dakotas and a little in Montana, but why isn't there more? And he said this fills it in. Like, yeah, there's more.
Right. And Jim tells that story, I think it was with Angela Milner, right? Where he took her out to maybe the Mustn't Touch It member of the Cedar Mountain. and she said she was just looking out at these badlands in awe, and she says, "Jim, you remember the quote?"
I can't remember the
It's
quote.
like there is more early Cretaceous rock in front of my eyes right now than there is in the entirety of Britain.
Yeah, that's right.
Just in that one landscape right there when they're standing on this cliff edge, and that's really cool. Yeah. We had some questions in the chat about whether you would consider releasing this as an ebook at some point.
I would have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not technologically proficient. I spend my life in hundreds of millions of years ago. But I wouldn't. I'm not opposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it won't translate as well.
It is a book with big, beautiful illustrations.
Yeah,
like
I
it's
just
just
think
not gonna
looking at
that
it
form
on
factor. Yeah.
on a small screen or even a computer. I mean, these are this is what is it 11 by 10.
Yeah.
So this is a 22-inch illustration. So I don't know that it would translate as well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it shouldn't happen.
Right.
It's probably going to be a while. Let's
Yeah.
put it that
Yeah.
way.
And I know for folks watching from overseas right now in other countries other than the U.S., shipping can be kind of expensive, and maybe that's what you're encountering as you go to order it. But we're kind of doing the best we can.
A guy named Mark Hollowell from England ended up ordering 6 copies of this and 6 copies of Where Dinosaurs Roamed, which
Nice.
is the late Cretaceous
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And basically he just said, I'm going to sell them to people I know. And, we just, it was $100 some to ship that box. But when you divide that up,
Yeah.
between all the books, it would end up being a more reasonable cost. And, if a bunch of you wanted to get together and do something like that, I don't know.
Make some new friends and get some books. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, I hate the fact that it's so expensive to ship things. I do try and go for the cheapest shipping, but so that's one possibility also. It definitely costs less per book to buy a big box.
Yeah.
And then, try and do something like that.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is the first time I've ever had anybody from another country want to buy my books.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool,
Well, no,
actually.
that's not
Yeah.
true. I've had a few requests for Dawn of the Dinosaurs and things, but usually when they find out how much it costs, they're like, okay, never mind.
Well, and if cost is a prohibitive factor for you, those of you watching at home, I would suggest maybe trying to get in contact with your local library. We should still have that pinned message at the top, hopefully, with some pointers on how to do that. Because, especially outside the U.S., a lot of libraries do have a budget for acquiring new books, and it's
no longer so much here.
yeah, it's I don't know. I guess order it while your local library still has a budget. Shoot,
Yeah.
that's a sad thought, but yeah, the more we can get this book out there into the world, the better things are for those of us who are working in the Cedar Mountain Formation. So, look into that. And especially if you're, a student at a university or something, university libraries, they should have this. If they have a section on dinosaurs and they want to keep up to date, this is an excellent book to get. So, yeah. But yeah, has anybody else got any other questions for Christa? Let me know. Let me scroll through here real quick. But
I appreciate all of you coming and.
Yeah. No, this is cool. I've been so excited for this book for a long time. Can we find the part with me as the the chapter quote too? Chapter heading. There it is.
There it is. It's
Beautiful.
chapter 11. It's about the work of paleontology. And Danny says, understanding science is more important than it's ever been. Dinosaurs are a great way to get people sucked in.
It's a little bit vulgar, but yeah.
No.
It was a direct quote.
It
so,
was
yeah.
a direct quote, and it's fine. And then I talk in the there's a couple of sidebars about getting involved in paleontology, whether it's actually getting out and doing it, even though you're not a paleontologist, or doing something like joining Danny's program or things like that. There's some really good programs on now. The new Walking with Dinosaurs is apparently very good, but I really appreciate this format because it's interactive.
Yeah.
People can ask questions right
Exactly.
away instead
Yeah.
of just being like, wow, what do they mean by that? You know, I don't think that's true. And then just being stuck with, you know, trying to write to the BBC.
Oh, but there's
Something like that.
a little excerpt right there. The that paragraph featuring me, right where your right
Oh,
thumb is.
oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. So get the book. It mentions Twitch too, which is cool. It might be the first book that ever mentions Twitch.tv.
When you first told me about it, I was like, huh?
Yeah. I'm excited
I
to show
know YouTube, you know.
yeah.
I don't know Twitch, so.
But I'm excited to show some of the folks who work at Twitch this book, and they'll be like, "Oh, wow, cool!" So
Great.
yeah. I might have some exciting news coming out about that soon, Chad, but I can't tell you just yet.
Oh.
But I told you. Yeah.
Yes, I won't say a word.
Yeah. Out of all the different critters that you talk about in the book, do you have a favorite dinosaur or other organism?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think among the dinosaurs, and this is not just trying to suck up to Jim, but I really do think the ankylosaurs are cool.
They are
I mean,
very
they're
cool.
Just
Yeah.
little freaking tanks with all this like, I mean, they're like
Crazy
Mad
spikes
Max
and-
creatures. They're
Yeah.
just so cool. And you know, the fact that we don't have really anything like that anymore.
Right.
It's so interesting. I mean, we have tortoises and we have armadillos and, you know, things with shells but
there's no
what?
multi-ton armored animals walking
and
around.
with spikes and
Yeah.
knobs and I mean, they're really cool.
Yeah.
In terms of the other animals, that's a tough one. Sometimes I find, and it's less with the Cedar Mountain Formation than, say, with the late Cretaceous stuff, but I find some of the least interesting or the least famous, the less sexy things the most interesting, like finding in the Kaparowitz they found actual fossilized beetle carvings on the bones. So, you know, the beetles were chewing into the bones before they became fossilized. And they found things like ant nests. You know, and that, I think that stuff is so amazing because we expect things with hard parts to, you know, to fossilize.
Bones and teeth
they're still
and stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
But we don't expect things like insects or you know, other arthropods or stuff like that. So I think those are some of my favorites. And they're not specifically in the Cedar Mountain Formation because there's not very much. Oh, I do like, I'll show you a picture. One of the things I really love are the clam escape structures.
Oh, yeah.
And also the pollen. The pollen stuff is really cool. Let's see, where are the clam escape structures? No. Oh, this has gone too far. They're just so cool. They're, here. So, these are not far from here, not far from Doling's Bowl. So this is from the top, this is from the side, and these are tubes in the sandstone where clams, you know, they burrowed down in, but then they had to get out, and so they would release water to sort of, you know, find their way out, get their way out of there, and the tubes would collapse back in and fill with sand, and that's so cool.
It's really neat. It's like a snapshot of daily life in the Cretaceous.
Yeah,
you know?
of things that you never really expect to fossilize. So I do like trace fossils. They're pretty cool. Also, tiny teeth are very cool. But anyway, so. But of the dinosaurs, I have to say, I mean, everybody loves the theropods. Everybody loves the dromaeosaurs. They're so cool. You find a claw and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But if you look just at the whole creature, those ankylosaurs
They're kind of mind-blowing. They really are. Like, it'd be so neat to just watch one walking around.
Exactly. Just kind of.
They must have had such an attitude, too. Like, you can't imagine them being very gentle creatures when they're just covered with these huge, formidable spikes.
You think you're going to flip me over? I don't think so. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We have a little
dust devil.
coming.
Dust devil's approaching. Here, let me turn the camera so we can see.
This is life in the desert.
Yep.
Oh boy. Close your
All right.
eyes. Oh good, it avoided us.
Wow, we got lucky there.
Yeah, we did.
Shoot. Yeah. Good spot, by the way. I'm like, what is she pointing at? Is there a vehicle approaching or something? Nope, worse.
Worse. Yeah, much worse.
Yeah. Some of you were here, what was that, about a week or two ago when Dawn's finger got all messed up from that shade tarp structure coming down on it. But Dawn's doing much better now, and yeah, he's gonna have a cool story and a cool scar. To commemorate the occasion. Yeah.
Paleontology is not for the faint-hearted or the
True.
faint-bodied,
Yeah.
like I said in the beginning.
Got another comment about Christa. I love her honesty. Could listen to her forever. Any plans to start a Twitch channel of your own?
No. No. Because I would not have any idea how to do this.
It's easier than it looks. I don't
I'm
know.
sure
It's
it
not
is,
rocket
but,
surgery. If
yeah,
I could figure it out, you could figure it out.
I was like, I'll help you with your book. Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah. But yeah. Crispy says we need a 24/7 paleontology stream. I don't know if I could do that.
Oh my
Shoot.
God, you're gonna have to get several people. You take shifts.
Pass the baton. Yeah.
Just keep passing the baton. So
Yeah.
nice. Well, even paleontologists sleep.
It's true.
Sometimes not a lot. They'll have they'll hang out at night and drink some beers or whatever, and then get up early, but. They sleep too, so
we need our downtime as well.
The paleontology's live stream would be really boring.
Yeah, I don't think you want to watch me sleep for 8 hours a night. Yeah.
Watching Danny sleep.
There are streamers who do that, literally, where like they'll do a 24/7 stream. So they'll just stream for a week straight, and half of that is them sleeping. And people watch it. I mean, it's the novelty, I guess. I don't know.
You guys are awesome because you're watching a live streaming of something that actually is worth watching. Like, I'm sorry, I don't really care about what you had for breakfast and your pictures in Facebook or whatever it is, but it's like, this is actually kind of worth,
It's
worth...
I'm continually
learning
impressed by
about.
like the idea that people are interested in what we do here. I know I would be. Like when I was a kid, I would have, gone crazy over a paleontology live stream from the field.
Right.
And so it's really cool to be able to provide that for other people and try and hold their attention,
The problem with paleontology is that, not the problem, but one of the issues is that Hollywood has made paleontology seem like this, it's very Indiana Jones, right? And you've got it all, right? You have the pith helmet and everything, so you look good, but
it's functional.
It's fine. No, it's very functional. And the high boots are excellent. They're very smart.
Snake proof. Yeah.
My running shoes are really dumb if I run into a snake. But
well, you can run from a snake.
But you go. Yeah, it's true. You go to, you get to a quarry, and 90% of what you do, like the first 2 weeks out of 3 weeks, 75% of what you do is taking off overburden.
Yeah.
And then when you start finding bones, people think you're going to find this perfect skeleton all laid out, or like this perfect skull.
Like you were talking about this morning in Jurassic Park.
Where they, oh my God, the original Jurassic Park. If you haven't seen it, you should go see it. But enjoy this part of it where, first of all, they used ground penetrating radar to find the fossils. When okay, that would be kind of cool. Not going to happen, but that would be kind of cool. And then when they went to dig, they're like taking paintbrushes and just brushing cat litter off these perfect bones. And I went to see it with a bunch of friends when I was at Berkeley. We're all from the paleo department, and we're just like, we're laughing, and everybody in the theater is going, what are they laughing about? That wasn't funny. That was cruel. That was super cool. And I'm like, no, it's so funny. So it's not as exciting as you think it's gonna be. I tell people,
not outwardly at least.
Not
like
outwardly. No, it's like it's in here, and when you find a bone, you can't be disappointed because it's not a complete skull.
Yeah.
What you have to say is, this is the first time any creature has seen this bone in 140 million years, or whatever it is, and then it doesn't matter if it's a part of a tibia or a tooth or a whatever. And we all have our favorite things we like to find, but it's even me, I'm working over in the corner, just pulling off the overburden, and I may not find anything, but just the idea that there's stuff here.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like when you go to Alaska and everybody wants to see a wolf. And you're like, okay, we may not see a wolf because they're pretty shy.
Sure.
But they're here.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest part, is that you know they're here.
Yep. And it's real. You're not
Yeah.
like, there's an authenticity there. It's cool to see wolves in a zoo. We have them at the
Yeah.
Oakland Zoo back home, and they're always cool to see. But to see one in its natural habitat, or even just see the natural habitat without the wolf,
yeah.
you're like, you know that they're there somewhere,
there. And
they could be
that's-
watching you, and
that's
you
how
might
the-
not even realize, you know?
That's how the fossils are. You know
Yeah.
they're here because they're being found all over the place. You
Yeah.
just might not be in a place where bones collected. Okay, no
Yep.
big deal. You just, you're on this big scavenger hunt. That's, it's
I've heard it
fun.
described almost like gambling before, where it's like, you just keep pulling the lever on the machine, you just keep flipping rocks, and like, maybe you'll find something today and maybe you won't, but like,
It's better for you than gambling.
much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not quite as addictive or as, impoverishing.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, I don't know, paleontology to a certain extent is...
Nobody makes very
Yeah.
much money.
Somebody told me once, if you want to, become a millionaire doing paleontology, start off with $1 billion and then go into paleontology.
That's an excellent way to put it, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, but if anybody out there wants to get involved in a dig or helping out at a museum or something, there are museums all over the world
Absolutely,
that want volunteers. There are people that want volunteers to come out in the field, and you just have to adjust your expectations from Hollywood, and I'm going to find a new species that'll get named after me, and it'll change the science forever.
I'll be on all the talk shows.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be on all the talk shows. To oh my gosh, I am looking for things that have been in the ground for however long, X number of years, and that alone is that's why I love doing it. I like prospecting too, getting out and looking for things.
Chance to find new stuff,
But I love
and not just the antiquity of it too, but also knowing that like after you find this fossil and collect it, it's going to be there in a museum collections for decades, maybe centuries, maybe millennia into the future. Like I talk all the time about
learn from it.
Exactly, yeah. Like paleontologists 100 years from now are going to be looking through these drawers, holding these fossils, and studying them, and maybe they'll even think about like, oh, who are the collectors here? Let me look at the specimen card, and
they might be saying, oh, I can't believe they thought this was the story.
yeah.
But that's
if we're
how
lucky,
science
that's
works.
that's
the cool thing about it. If anybody ever tells you that science is wrong because somebody changed the way they thought about something, that is exactly how science works.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we learn anything.
Exactly.
I grew up with margarine. Margarine was so healthy for you because butter was so horrible. Gotta eat margarine. Margarine is the way to go, and that was, a science, right? And now we're like, oh my God, margarine, It's like,
it's just vegetable oil, basically, right? Yeah.
well, it's hydrogenated oils and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, science, that's what science does. It changes. We learn as we get new information and new techniques and new technology, and, we learn. And so hopefully in 100 years, people will pull out the fossils that we've found, that Danny's found, and either they'll say, wow, this is super cool. This is the first of its kind, and now we have 20 of them. Or they'll say, wow, they were so wrong. They really got that one. They shanked that one. But that's the whole point, and that's the cool part of it.
And there's, I'm sure, examples of this in your book too. Like, I guess the Cedar Mountain Formation as a whole, like we were talking about earlier, is one of these things where I'm sure that was named back in like the early 1900s or something.
1944.
44.
Cedar Mountain
Okay.
Shale, and then turned into the Cedar Mountain Formation a few years later. But the best example, or one great example of how our minds have changed about the Cedar Mountain Formation is the dating. It used to be that the lower yellow cat, the oldest age in the Cedar Mountain Formation was 125 million. That was the oldest age, and we've been pushing those dates back ever since. And as we get new technology, we're able to date, zircons now, and we're able to do all these different kinds of dating techniques. We're learning about the dates of the formation in ways that we didn't know before. So that's one of the great, great examples of, and that changes everything, because if you change the date from 125 million to 140 million, or even more, then you're changing the paleobiogeography of the world and where the continents were, and you're changing when certain dinosaurs appeared and different lineages appeared. So
it's like Jim talks about all the time, where we used to think that there was a big gap between the end of the Morrison Formation and the beginning of the Cedar Mountain, like 20 million years or something. It's like anything could have happened in that.
Right.
All these dinosaurs at the end of the Morrison disappear, but maybe that could have been a gradual extinction. They were gradually replaced over time. They evolved into something else, whatever. And now we're realizing
there isn't
probably
that
a
much
really
gap.
abrupt transition there.
Yeah.
So something big happened in between those, and that's a
the
really
question.
interesting story. Yeah.
That's
So Jim
the
thinks it might have been an asteroid impact in southern Africa, but this is like brand new cutting edge stuff. And is that in the book, the asteroid hypothesis? Or not quite?
I did mention it as a possibility, but I don't like go into a whole discussion of it. It's there as part of the whole question of like, holy cow, we go from the end of the Morrison and then, the early Cretaceous. It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
And what happened to cause such an apparently abrupt transition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool thinking about this, where like, I don't know, I'm sure people in chat have read about big scientific revolutions, like new ideas coming to the fore with, the general consensus around a certain subject might change. We're kind of witnessing that happen at the Cedar Mountain Formation, and that's kind of chronicled in the book, and I think that's neat. And there are parts of this that'll be wildly incorrect.
Probably
in
already
10
incorrect.
or 20 years. But like if you want to kind of witness one of those, I'm not going to call it a scientific revolution, but like,
it's kind of a paleontological revolution.
It kind of is,
considering that they're, up until the Cedar Mountain started producing so much, there was no early Cretaceous, basically. I mean, there was a little bit in the
North America,
Cloverly and tiny, tiny little bits and pieces, but this is filling in a huge chunk of that story. And so it is kind of it's a Western North American paleontological revolution.
Yeah. And we're here while it's happening. So, I don't know. I get really excited about stories like this, and I want you to get excited about it too. So pick up the book if you get the chance. If you're just joining us, it's Dinosaur Frontier by Christa Sadler.
Title came from Jim.
Yeah.
He didn't suggest it to me, but we were just digging around in here, and he was holding cord up on his, chair, and he's going, I just went there, and this is really, it's a Dinosaur Frontier. And I'm like,
sketchy, yeah.
So, and it's also, and this is, I tell me when you want to stop it.
No, this is great, yeah.
But it's also, and I point this out in the preface, like it's a frontier of other sorts too, because there are techniques and technologies being used in the Cedar Mountain Formation that, they've been used in other places, but not for this purpose.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, using the oxygen isotopes. The stuff that Selena and Marina are doing.
Yeah.
It's like mind-blowing to think that you can figure out when you start getting snow melt off of the ancient severe highlands, or the zircons or the charophytes, looking at little algae, female algae sex parts, and being able to determine age for one thing, but also environment. So there's so many different types of things coming into all this, carbon isotope, oxygen isotope, things like that have not really been pulled into paleontology before in this way. So in that, I kind of consider it a frontier in that regard too.
Yeah. And it's really neat seeing some of these big research programs starting to move into the Cedar Mountain too. Or like Lindsay Zano, who is a huge player in North American vertebrate paleontology.
She's profiled.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Working up in the Mustn't Touch It member of the Cedar Mountain. And then just yesterday, we went out and visited Luis Chiappe's crew from Los Angeles at a site that Dawn found originally back in the early 2000s. So it's neat to see these big players start to kind of converge on this formation and give it their attention, and yeah, it's an exciting time to be working in the Cedar Mountain Formation, to see that things are on the rise here, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah. Let's see, and we've got 12 raiders coming in from Shinken Gadsa. Thank you for the raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Hope you had a great stream. I'm here with Christa Sadler talking about her new book, Dinosaur Frontier, which we're encouraging everybody to buy, yeah.
Holding this up.
Do the best Vanna White there, yeah. But yeah, this is all about our work in the Cedar Mountain Formation. I say our, this is the paleontological we, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like paleontologists in general.
It's not just Danny and Dawn, and, you know, but it's,
Yeah.
it's the work.
Yeah, so this is exciting because this is the first like scholarly book ever written on the Cedar Mountain Formation. I guess you could say that Bob Bacher wrote a book about it in the 90s, Raptor Red.
Yeah, I mean...
But that was, you know, a fictional,
yeah,
like,
it was a fictional
a
account.
fantasy novel, as Jim likes to put it.
I wouldn't call it scholarly, but
Yeah.
it was, I know a lot of people who loved it.
Oh, yeah,
I actually have not read it.
Really?
It seems strange. I probably should read it now.
It's a quick read, yeah. Lots of exclamation points, as you might imagine from Bacher.
Yep.
But yeah, it's fun. And what was neat is that when Bob Bacher was writing that book back in the 90s, he was apparently calling Jim up a bunch of times on the phone and asking about the Cedar Mountain Formation. And there were like predictions that he made in it where like, he puts therizinosaurs in the book. I think he calls them segnosaurs. But like, that's before they'd ever been discovered in the Cedar Mountain.
Yeah.
And it, you know, later on they were found, and he kind of made a prediction there, and it came true. So that was interesting.
Yeah,
and then there's other things that are completely off the wall. Like there's Deinonychus living alongside Utah Raptor, and there's Acrocanthosaurus and stuff like that. And they're way over on the East Coast, like Maryland.
There are Acrocanthosaurs
in the
here,
Cedar Mountain,
in
yeah.
the Cedar Mountain.
We've
We
got
don't
some-
know if they are actually Acrocanthosaurus or not, but they are
Probably not,
Acrocanthosaurs.
given
Probably
the-
not the timing.
Unless they're, yeah.
Or Ruby Ranch.
Oh, okay,
stuff.
yeah, that could be
Ruby
Cloverleaf
Ranch.
equivalent,
Yeah,
potentially,
exactly.
right? Yeah,
Yep, it
yeah.
is. So.
Yeah, or a
But
Rundle
yeah.
equivalent or whatever. But, yeah. Oh, and X Room has got a question for you, Christa.
Okay.
Is it possible to get an autographed copy of your book?
Yes. If you, where are you?
Is that a Finnish flag? Right there?
Oh boy, or Sweden?
I think Sweden's
Anyway.
got yellow, right? I'm pretty sure that's Finland.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you just contact me via the website, just write to me on email, and let me know that you want the book. I'll send you an invoice because the shipping is going to be not the same as the PayPal
overseas
thing.
it gets pretty expensive. But, yeah.
But then, and just remind me.
yeah.
Say, please autograph it for me. I mean, I autograph everyone just with my name, but if you would like,
so that's
something,
that's by default you
by
autograph
default,
it.
I autograph them.
That's cool. Shoot, I didn't
Maybe
know
I
that.
shouldn't. Maybe I should charge more for that. But no, no. I mean, I'm happy to write something, especially if you heard about it here and you let me know. You know, I'll definitely.
Shoot. Speaking of that, if anybody's ordering the book today, put a note there. Because there's probably a little thing for notes, right?
I think so.
I heard about this on Paleontologizing.
Yeah.
Although, if anybody places an order today, you'll probably realize that.
Probably, yes. Yeah. And you won't get your book for a few days because I am going to be here for a few days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Enjoying myself with the fossils and the fossil people.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the authenticity of this book is that you're not writing this from an armchair somewhere.
No, but I like to get out. When I wrote the Dawn of the Dinosaurs and the Where Dinosaurs Roamed, I went out with as many crews as I could, and it's purely selfish because yes, I'll get all the information for my book, but then I also get to hang out and do paleontology.
It's not purely selfish. It makes for a much better finished product where it's like you're there, boots on the ground,
Running shoes on the ground.
Yeah, it comes across in the text, and I don't know. You really kind of can't fake that kind of thing. You know, I'm sure we've both read books where it's about a particular subject, and it's clear that the author is not an expert in that. And
do this or go here?
Yeah, and there's like certain details where you're like, what? If you were there, you'd never be saying this. What?
And I also like, if I can, I like to get out to where things are happening partly for the technical nature of it, but I like to give people a sense of what it's like out here, you know, and just descriptions of the landscape or descriptions of what it's like, you know, to be a paleontologist. Like, sometimes the winds blow forever.
It's true.
Things like that.
Sometimes you just want to squash every ant in sight because they keep biting you, but you restrain yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, yeah. I don't know, be kind.
Wilson would be very sad if you were not kind to ants.
Yeah.
Ants are very cool, and they're very important. They help break down ecosystems.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Bill Clemens would also be said. If I told you that story, do you know the one about him with the crackers in his pocket?
No.
So Bill Clemens, like an elder statesman from Berkeley in mammal paleontology, he described a ton of the earliest Paleocene and latest Mesozoic mammals, from like the Hell Creek and Tulloch Formation and stuff.
Such a great guy.
Yeah. So I used to run into Bill all the time when I was volunteering at UCMP in Berkeley when I was in high school. He'd say hi to me every morning, just always a gentleman. But apparently when he was out in the field, he used to collect fossils from ant mounds all the time.
Yeah,
so
it's
a standard
Bug
practice.
Creek anthills.
Exactly, yeah. Yep.
I collected dozens of mammal teeth from those. Yeah.
I think it was Pat who told me one time that she was out prospecting with Bill, and she was just within earshot of him, and he didn't know that she was listening. But he went up to this anthill, and he's just talking to these ants, and he's like, "What have you got for me today, fellas?" Like, "Oh, really appreciate that. Here's a really nice Purgatorius tooth."
Yeah.
You know, and and then so he's just thanking them the whole time, and afterward he's like, here's something for your troubles, and he pulls out a snack pack of cheese crackers from his pocket and crushes them up and puts them on the ant mound there. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. I mean, I worked with him for 2 seasons out in Montana. I don't recall that ever seeing that, but I love that.
Yeah, I miss Bill.
Yeah, he was a wonderful person.
Yeah.
Very kind.
But yeah. Let's see. Before we wrap up here, any other questions from chat for Christa here? Oh, we've got Ken in the chat. How you doing, Ken? It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of patience. Thank you.
Yeah.
We've just been yammering
No,
for a while.
I've been having fun. Yeah.
Me too.
I hope chat has been as well. But yeah, if you were to do just a quick pitch for why somebody should purchase this book, why are you excited about it in particular? Because I often feel like when you're trying to promote something, that genuine enthusiasm is like the biggest advertisement for it, you know?
I won't say it's to put my kids through college because I don't have any kids. So.
Right.
Now, I think that I hope people buy this so that they can just learn more about our extraordinary planet and our extraordinary planet's history, and this, just how science works and the people that are involved in all of this. We get a lot of kind of wrong or sort of not twisted ideas, but sort of the ideas we get from the media or from Hollywood or whatever are sometimes not entirely accurate.
There's some distortion there, like you're not getting the full picture oftentimes.
That's the word I was looking for. And I just think that you don't need to invoke perfection or a deity or anything. Life and this planet are absolutely amazing just as they are, and this is just one little tiny chapter in the story of this planet and all the people that are doing this work. So I guess that's one thing I would say.
That's beautiful.
Plus, I think it's a really cool book.
It is a very cool book. I mean, shoot.
It's accurate except for Tyrannosauroidea. I don't know if he's still there, but again, not inaccurate, just not as accurate.
I love
as
that is the one inaccuracy that it's like it's something so minor.
Yeah,
where
it's what's so funny is that I mean, it's pretty obvious, but I just did not see it when I was.
Yeah.
but he got it.
Yeah.
He caught it. So, yeah. So, you see Tyrannosauroidea down here, the larger
most
group,
inclusive
right?
group, yeah.
The most inclusive group. So, you put, Moros in there. But when you come up here to Tyrannophonius is actually Tyrannosauridae.
Yeah.
It's the family. And I don't honestly know why Jeff Martz didn't do that, because he knows this stuff. But, and I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
All the proofreading
Really
I did,
easy mistake
and,
to make, for sure.
it's like, oh, it's spelled right, but I just wasn't, So anyway.
What a cool figure, too. So I did fieldwork with Jeff Martz back in, was that April, I think, in St. George.
Oh, nice.
And it was really cool memeting him and, doing some streams and
he's
stuff.
amazing.
Yeah.
I love his, this is the sauropod one. I really wanted to put these in just so people could get a sense of how all of these things are related.
Yeah.
And I just love his artworch.
I had no idea he was such an accomplished artist.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff for the Petrified Forest. Let's see, this is, I think, iguanodontians are in here somewhere, but also...
Yeah, we did a whole stream about this with Karen when she was here last week.
Oh, nice.
Looking at your iguanodontian.
And then, this one I love. Jim checked this one out.
Yeah, we
of
looked
course
at this on stream with Jim the other day.
Of course, he's like, it's not right. We don't really know, but this is as good as anything. I'm like, okay.
Almost exactly what he said on stream. Yeah.
So, but I really love the whole concept of, I talk a little bit in here about what is a phylogeny, what is a phylogenetic analysis, how do we group these animals, and so that might be the most technical, or not technical, but lingo heavy.
Yeah, jargony,
because the jargon, because you're talking about, okay, what is the difference between idae and oidea, and it's like, but it's important to understand how these animals are grouped and what they're not just going, oh, well, that one kind of looks like this one, so let's put them together. They're using really...
there's a methodology there that's much more in-depth.
Very careful analyses, so
yeah.
I talk about that as well.
Well, I think that also just goes to show how, I don't know. People often ask me, Danny, what's a great introductory book for somebody who's not familiar with dinosaurs or how dinosaur science has changed in the past 30 years? This honestly is really good for that. I'm kind of realizing this now talking with you. It's not just a specific book on the Cedar Mountain Formation. Yeah. You can use this as an intro to dinosaur science in general and paleontology in general and a lot of geology in general. Mm-hmm. It's all in here. And since it is written for kind of a lay audience, people who don't necessarily have a background in this sort of thing, I think it's a wonderful resource for anybody who wants to learn more about dinosaurs or about the history of life on Earth. So thanks for putting it together. This is a beautiful book, and I really encourage, if you can afford it, buy this book. Seriously.
Okay.
These ants, yeah.
Yeah, these harvester ants.
They've discovered us.
You can't kill them because these are ancestors of the Navajo. So
is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not supposed to kill them, but they do hurt when they bite. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Christa. This has been a ton of fun.
Thanks for, it has been fun, and thanks for talking to me about the book and reading it if you have read it, and I hope you will read it. And
I hope you open up your email and there's 100 orders for it. Seriously.
Well, I understand if not, because we don't all have a lot of money. So,
that's true. Yeah.
But hopefully we can get it to libraries.
Exactly.
And, people can at least read it that way, which is really the point. Like I said, I don't do this to make money, because if I'm not Stephen King, or whoever is out there making a bunch of money. But
and I know we say self-published book too. This does not feel like a self-published book at all. This is the thing, is that Christa had other publishers lined up and everybody else wanted to cut corners, and this is a self-published book because she didn't cut corners. I want to emphasize that,
Yeah. I have my own press that I've published. This is my third book that I have myself I have published, and then I have other books that other people have published, but I am picky, and I'm a prima donna, and and I want things the way I want them. That's how getting old should be, dang it. I wanted this to look this way and really do justice to the story and to all the people.
Yeah. did an
Yeah,
excellent
so
job.
I'll give you your book back.
Thank you again. Yeah. I'll have you sign the brand new one that you brought.
I will
This is my
definitely sign
field
it for
copy,
you.
so it's
If that's your field copy, you're doing pretty good.
I've been trying to treat it nicely, but yeah.
Well, now you can trash it if you want to.
Well, thank you so much, Krista. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Here, I'll go. Probably do about 35 minutes more on the stream. I'll go walk around for a little bit. We might do some digging. Yeah. I know. Yeah, my knees too.
That's my back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let me put this back on. There we go. Excellent. Drink some more water. We'll walk around for a minute, do some Q&A, and then we'll get back into the quarry. All right. Shoulder strap. Okie doke. There we go. Nice. All right. And thanks, Golganek. Yeah, it's always fun talking with Krista, and I appreciate everybody's attention and enthusiasm. Yeah. And Alex Siscom, it is Dinosaur Frontier is the name of the book. Utah at the Dawn of the Cretaceous by Christa Sadler. Here, one more time, I'll show you the cover. ThisEarthPress.com. That's where you can get it. There you go. There you are. Yeah. And this site that we're digging here is actually in the book. You know, this is all very close to home for me. Close to my heart. I don't know, it's just, I'm so excited that this book is finally out. We've been hearing about it for years. Krista's been working really hard on it, and now it's finally done. Just really stoked about this. So again, get yourself a copy if you have the ability to. It is well worth it, and you're supporting fossil science in the process of purchasing it. So yeah, makes a great gift for other people in your life too. Whether they like dinosaurs or whether they're terrified of dinosaurs, buy it for them for Halloween. Give them a good scare. But yeah. And book on order. Thank you, Reagan Nation. Thank you to everybody who's ordered it so far. I saw some other messages there. You're really going to enjoy it. You really will. I'm excited for you. Yeah. Excellent. Good stuff. And Layla Wani says, is the info in it really Utah specific, or would the stuff we learn there apply to other places around the world? It will absolutely apply too. So there's specific information about the Cedar Mountain Formation, but the cool way that Krista has written the book, it's kind of like, I don't know, that's the thing about paleontology. When you get into the nitty-gritty details, like she gets into in the book, you got to have a lot of background info first. And so the first couple chapters are all about the basics of paleontology and geology. How do we know how old the Earth is? How do we know how fossils are formed? All of the stuff like this. So if you're totally new to fossil science, this is actually an excellent book to get because it walks you through a lot of this stuff at the beginning. And even if you're well familiar with those concepts, like many people in chat already are, you're still going to get something out of those first chapters because it's written in a way that's interesting, and Krista uses analogies for certain topics that I think are kind of makes you think about them in a new way, even if you're already familiar with how this stuff works. So the book is, in a way, kind of an introduction to fossil science, using the Cedar Mountain Formation as a teaching tool, if that makes sense. There's a lot of very specific information, and there's all of the background that you need to understand and appreciate that specific information. That's not an easy task to pull off, but she does it brilliantly in the book. Yeah. But yeah. And Flugfisk, how are you doing? Hello, welcome back. Yeah. So anyway, if anybody's just joining us, welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm out here with the Utah Geological Survey in, what is this, Emery County, Utah? Or is this Grand County? I forget. We're kind of near the town of Moab, out in the middle of the Utah desert, and digging up dinosaurs in that quarry there. I'll walk you over in a minute, show you some of the bones that we're uncovering. Yeah. Good stuff. And 97 degrees. It doesn't feel that hot right now. Let's take a look at my thermometer, actually. And I had to buy a new 9-volt battery for it, but got that installed. It's all working now. We will take a look at current temperature and humidity. Let's see. It doesn't feel like 97. And Mesart rules, there's a ton of fires in Arizona and Colorado and Utah, and we're seeing some smoke from that here. That's why it's so hazy. You can't even see the Book Cliffs on the horizon, just totally obscured by all that smoke. Yeah, this is an ongoing thing. Yeah, it'll clear up for a while, and then the winds will come in, blow in all the smoke, and then suddenly you lose a lot of that visibility. But yeah. All right, there's the thermometer. Power that on, and this says 97.95. It does not feel that hot. Huh. 98? What's this one down here? That's Fahrenheit, not Celsius. Yeah. I don't know, this thermometer's usually pretty accurate. But you spend, weeks and weeks out here in the desert, and your body kind of gets used to it, It's like, oh, is it 97 degrees? I guess, whatever. I don't even know anymore. Desensitized to it. Yeah. And Cosmological Kev says, how far does the overburden pile stretch now? Well, I'll show you. It starts off right here, next to the quarry, and then extends, away flies, all the way over here. It just keeps going. You can see the wheelbarrow track here. So hopefully not far enough where we start to lose signal from the satellite dish. Here we go, here's the end of it. Right here. So, pretty far, I would say. Yeah, that's about, I don't know, 100 feet? Yeah. Oh boy. So that's all of this moved in the past 2 weeks. This is all rock from the quarry. And yeah, we've got special permission to be able to dump that here. We're working on federal land under a Bureau of Land Management permit. And so we can move all of our debris down here into the wash, because this is the natural path that water takes when you get the monsoon rains that come through this valley. And so a lot of this stuff will get washed away. In a couple months it won't look like this at all. So, yeah. Oh, good stuff. Yeah. And Crimson Carnotaurus, we will luckily not have to fill all of this in. This quarry here, we're hopefully going to be working next year and maybe a few other years into the future. And so we won't have to fill it in until we're done. And even then, we might get specific guidance on what to do. Filling in the quarry might be not just more trouble than it's worth, but it might be more of an impact on the environment than just leaving it open at this point. We'll see what guidance we get from the BLM, from the Bureau of Land Management, about this. But yeah, I don't know, whatever they want, we're happy to do. So we've got good friends at the BLM. Yeah. And how do from London? Oh, very nice, DJ Mannix. Good to have you here. Welcome to Paleontologizing, and yeah, good day from desert of eastern Utah. I'm actually going to be going to London for the very first time in November this year. I'm flying into the UK for the annual Society of Vertebrate Paleontology meeting. This year it is being held in the crown jewel of the British Isles. Of course, you all know I'm talking about Birmingham. It's going to be great. I'm very excited. I hear it's, you know, the most beautiful town in all of Britain. There you go. Who's the pro? Yeah, Birmingham. And Leilani says, I know someone who lives in Utah and hates their current job. Is there a way they could volunteer to help out? Absolutely, yeah. There's a number of different museums in Utah that could really use this person's help, I bet you. I'm working here with the Utah Geological Survey. We often have smaller crews, tight budgets. Might be difficult to get on this crew, but there is the Dinosaur Discovery Site Museum in St. George, Utah, down in the southwest corner of the state. There's also the Prehistoric Museum in Price, Utah. They do a ton of field work, and I'm going to be helping them out in about a month and a half, something like that. And that's just a few miles in that direction, that quarry. Laurie's site, we're going to be digging up some ankylosaurs with Josh Lively, who has a profile in the book. Yeah, so the Prehistoric Museum in Price is another one. Let's see. There might be volunteer opportunities up in Vernal, Utah, at the Utah Fieldhouse Museum. Let me think where else, actually. I don't know if the museum in Lehi, Thanksgiving Point, has any opportunities, but I can ask. Let's go ask some Utah locals here. We'll ask Dawn and Ethan about any other opportunities that might exist in the beautiful state of Utah. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, Dawn's doing some rapping. Bless you, Stan.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Don, we got a question about other opportunities for volunteering in the state of Utah. I mentioned the museum in Price and the one in St. George. Any other museums you can think of at the top of your head?
I think those are the
main ones? Yeah.
Any not just Cedar Mountain, but any, well, Denver.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Denver does have a huge program.
Yeah, the Denver Museum of Nature and Science in Denver, Colorado.
And MHU has a program.
They do, actually. Yeah, I always forget about that.
Did. I'm assuming they still do. I don't know. Okay.
But yeah, that museum in Salt Lake, they have a field program, and they might take volunteers as well.
So. UFOP.
Yeah, shoot, there you go. That's
a bit of a wait.
How could I forget? Thank you,
Is there
Selena.
a waiting list for UFOP?
Well, no, for
Oh,
NHMU.
for
Yeah,
NHMU.
but yeah, shoot. So you mentioned that a friend of yours lives in Utah and would love to be able to get involved in paleontology. Tell them to join the Utah Friends of Paleontology. We actually have a logo right over here. There's the UFOP logo, utahpaleo.org, inside of our toolbox there. And they are phenomenal friends to have. They've really supported our whole project here. Some of the funding for this excavation has come from UFOP, as I understand it. They're great, yeah. And I was actually talking with a member of UFOP in Salt Lake just before we came out here. He was asking if I could give a talk. I don't know if it's going to be remotely or in person, but sometime in maybe October. And I'm excited to do that. It'd be really cool. I've watched some UFOP talks before. They'll get various paleontologists to come in and give presentations, and UFOP is an organization of paleontologists and men of life who are interested in paleontology and want to help support it in Utah. It's a great organization. So that would be the place for your friend to start off looking. Yeah, join up with UFOP and they'll make a ton of connections through that. Yeah. And let's see here. Oh, they live in Provo but are willing to travel. Oh, very cool, Leiluwani. Well, in Provo, they also have BYU. Brigham Young University has got a paleontology museum. Yeah, they also do field work, come to think of it. So yeah, there might be something very close to home for them. We've got a lovely museum in Provo as well. So yeah, I was always a little bit jealous as a kid. Still am a little bit jealous of people who live in places like Utah and Colorado and Wyoming. I grew up in California, which is incredible, beautiful. I love it. That's why I still live there. Not a lot of opportunities to get involved with dinosaur work in California, especially not Northern California where I grew up. At least down south, you've got the Natural History Museum of LA. But yeah, so that's why I come out here every summer. Go dig up dinosaurs. Yeah, it's definitely one of the positive things of living in a Rocky Mountain state like Utah or Colorado or Wyoming. Yeah. But yeah. And let's see. And Carval says, what kind of fossils do you typically find at a dig site that are not dinosaur fossils? Great question. At this site here, we've got a couple of, well, several different non-dinosaur critters. We've got a lot of plants. A lot of them seem to belong to a group that we called Tempskia. We don't know if they're actually within genus Tempskia or if there's something new or different, but I'll find you a picture. I think it's in the Mustn't Touch It chapter in Christa's book. Let's see. Ruby Ranch. Nope, keep going. Mustn't touch it. I think Tempskia was in here. There we go, yeah. So it's this great big tree fern type thing. I don't know if it's actually a true tree fern like genus Cyathea or Dixonia. It might be part of a separate group of pteridophyte plants. But we find lots of bits and pieces of plant material that we interpret as coming from a critter like this, Tempskia. So we get a lot of that. We'll find little coprolites, fossil poops, from things like crocs, maybe, possibly turtles, probably crocs. Yeah, so we've got turtle pieces from what could be a new kind of turtle that we've been finding in the quarry over the past few days. And then we've been finding croc bits, too. So I think we might have a few little osteoderms, little armor plates from crocs, and teeth. The teeth are very distinctive as well. And we've got a number of good croc teeth here and a whole bunch of bite marks on some of these bones that very well could come from crocs or they could come from meat-eating dinosaurs. We're still figuring some of that out. But, you know, here at this quarry, we're not just collecting the dinosaurs. Any fossil that we find is potentially really informative. So we collect all of it. So far, no mammals, no lizards, I don't think. I don't think we have any freshwater fish material. It's mostly like things that would be living kind of in a mucky, swampy sort of environment. Dinosaurs tramping around, crocs and turtles, that kind of thing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, good stuff. And hang on, I think Angoy had a question. Let's see. Angoy says, how do we determine which species a coprolite came from? It's difficult. I think Claire mentioned this. But like Karen Chin says, it can be difficult to identify who the poopatrator was. You know, who left these poops here. But you can often compare them to modern animals. So if one of the fossil poops, the coprolites, looks just like you get from a modern crocodile, you get it's from a croc, a Cretaceous crocodile relative. Open and look at bits of digested matter that are inside. Is this consistent with what a croc would be eating? You can use that to figure it out. It's a little bit more straightforward than you would imagine, I think. If it's a really big poop, it's going to be from a really big animal, most likely. And so if you have a good roster of who the different animals are walking around in that environment, you can come up with a short list of potential poopitrators, and you kind of go from there, if that makes sense. Yeah. And let's see. A regular kind of mystery. Who dung it? There you go, EQ Washu. I like that a lot. I might have to steal that one. A real who dung it story. Yeah. Anyway, let me know if you got any other questions. 421 people watching right now. That's brilliant. Let me know if you've got other questions about the Cedar Mountain Formation, about dinosaurs, about the history of life in general, or about, how science works and why we do it. I'm here to answer those questions for you. We'll probably wrap up in about 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'll get back to digging. But yeah. And Ms. Art Rules says, does it have bone in it sometimes? Yeah. So if it's the droppings of a carnivorous animal, oftentimes you'll have fragments of bone inside. And the whole thing will be very calcium rich in general. Just like you see in modern dung. Well, shoot, here. Now that we're talking about this, who is this from? These are not fossilized. These have probably been sitting out for a year, just drying, but these are from some sort of ungulate mammal, I'm sure. I don't know if these are from a cow. They look awful small for that. I bet you they're from a pronghorn. This dung here on the surface. I don't know what pronghorn dung looks like, but let me look it up quick. But pronghorn are they're antilocaprid mammals. Pronghorn scat. Let's see here. Images. Oh no, that's much smaller. This is not from a pronghorn. It's probably a cow. Which tells me this is probably years old, because I've never seen a cow in this valley here, in Doling's Bowl. It's kind of way too dry. There's not enough plants for them. So this is probably a cow that was just passing through on its way to greener pastures, literally speaking. And probably a young cow. This could be from a calf, I'm guessing. Yeah. But yeah. Golganix is definitely not cow. Are you sure? I would not be surprised if this is from a young cow. Because it's definitely not deer, it's definitely not pronghorn. We don't get elk around here, and elk poop doesn't look like this. It's much more like a deer. So I think it's got to be a cow. Can't think of anybody else it could be from. Yeah. And then it says goat. I don't think we have goats around here either. Yeah. Ken says, I imagine they have some in the spring. That would make sense. Yeah. So, I don't know. Again, you got to think about ontogeny, folks. You say, oh, cows only make big poops. It's like, really? What about a small cow? Yeah. And really big mouse. I don't think so. And I don't think it's horse either, Arita Kenwife. There are no wild horses here that I'm aware of in this part of Utah. I don't think it's possible it's from a domestic horse, but I don't think it's super likely. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anywho. I'm pretty sure it's a cow. And DJ Mannix says, my real name is Abel, and one day I looked up if I had a dinosaur named after me. Yeah, Abelisaurus. There's a whole group called the Abelisaurs. They're a mostly Gondwanan group of theropod dinosaurs from the Cretaceous. And Carnotaurus, which is a really famous meat-eating dinosaur, that's probably the most famous member of this group. So Carnotaurus is a member of Abelisauridae, the Abelisaur family. Yeah. So there you go, DJ Mannix. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Yeah. And anywho. Oh, and that's pretty neat, Claire Burr. Yeah, that must be about that paper that we read on stream. There was one, I think it was, authors were from Poland, and they were trying to figure out, like, the rise and fall of different groups of animals in the Triassic into the Jurassic period, if I remember correctly. Maybe it's all Triassic. But anyway, they were using coprolites to do that. They're like, we don't have a whole lot of body fossils around here, bones and stuff, but we do have a wealth of fossil dung. If we can figure out who is likely, dropping this dung, and we can look at its frequency over time, we can look at, like, through the rock record, which kind of dung becomes more rare and which kind becomes more common. We can use that as a proxy for figuring out different groups of animals spreading through the landscape, becoming more common or going extinct. And it kind of chronicles the rise of the dinosaurs in the late Triassic, which is really neat. It's cool stuff. Selena actually had something to say about that in the quarry yesterday. She was like, she's like, I'm not sure about the dating on this, but, paper seemed cool. So I bet you it's about that. Yeah. Oh, and Liluwani, yes, I did see your question earlier. I think I might know the dinosaur that you're thinking of. Possibly, if we are talking about dinosaurs here. There's a dinosaur from South America, from Brazil, in fact, called Irritator challengeri. And it was named thus because it was, well, the fossil was basically stolen from Brazil. It was, like, excavated by commercial collectors, and they sold it on the black market. But before they did that, they made a lot of changes to the bone. They filled in a lot of gaps and stuff to try and make it look like it would be worth more money when they sold it on the black market. And so there were some, I think, German paleontologists who acquired it somehow, and then they were very irritated at all of the creative additions to the fossil. So they had to clear those off, and it's a Spinosaur Irritator, big fish-eating dinosaur. Cool critter. But part of the skull is missing. Irritator, I think, is primarily the back of the skull, and then the snout, the end of the snout, was missing. And somebody found another very similar looking bit, but it was just the snout, of a Spinosaur from the same quarry, I think, in Brazil, and they named it Angutirama. And I've heard from multiple paleontologists that these two pieces almost certainly click together. So it's probably not just the same kind of dinosaur, it's probably the same individual dinosaur that ended up at two different museums. And yeah, I don't know if anybody's actually published on that yet, but I've heard from multiple researchers that that's almost certainly the case. It's almost certainly the same individual animal. Yeah. So yeah. And did that also happen to E.R. Carcaria? I'm not sure, Crimson. I don't know if that's the case. But welcome to Bretzler, back to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for the raid. I hope you had an excellent stream. Welcome to our workout here in the earliest Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation in eastern Utah. I'm working with the Utah Geological Survey, and we're digging up at least one new species of dinosaur, possibly several. And I'll go show you around the quarry real quick. If you've ever wanted to watch a live dinosaur dig, you're in luck. Welcome to Paleontologizing. So here, this is a site that we've been working for the past 4 years. We'll be out here for a total of 3 weeks this summer. We're just starting week 3, or week 3. The critter that we're digging up is going to be similar to this, an iguanodontian dinosaur. This is iguanodon, this little patch. Our critter is about 20 million years older, we think, and would look about 20 million years different. But yeah, a little bit more less derived features on this critter. But yeah. Excellent. A little bit. Oh boy, a wind. Yeah, under this big white blob here, this is a field jacket, a winter jacket put together. You want me to go hold that corner?
Well, I think the fabric's gonna rip.
Yeah. Shade tarps are a beautiful thing, but they also can be a pain in the butt when the wind blows them around. Yeah.
You look through that whole bucket.
Anyhow, when Don gets out of the way, I'll show you a bone that I found earlier. And Beyond the Grave wants to know, is there a way of knowing how long after these individuals died, this site or others, if they were covered up and preserved, how long might they have been exposed to the elements? Is it possible to tell? So, in some cases, yeah. At a site like this, bless you, these bones are all disarticulated. So that means these skeletons fell apart. And the bones were spread around all over the place. And this shows that they weren't buried immediately, you know? If you have a dinosaur that's all together, perfectly articulated in life position, you know that was probably a pretty quick burial before the bones could get spread around. This is not one of those cases. These dinosaurs would have been, you know, their carcasses would have been lying on the surface for, you know, who knows, maybe years before they got buried. And some of the bones are clearly broken before burial, so they may have gotten stepped on. Scavengers would have come through and torn up the carcasses and left tooth marks and eaten certain bones and stuff like that. So we know here it wasn't immediate burial. This would have been like a low-lying floodplain, we think, very swampy. We've got indications that, you know, there's these like Tempskia ferns that are growing there in the swamp, and the lithology itself shows that this is, well, you know, it's a mudstone. So it's just an ancient, muddy, swampy, boggy sort of place. It's not necessarily where you'd have super rapid burial, unless you get like a big flood event that comes through and dumps a bunch of sediment on top of them. So yeah, that did happen, you know. We would have had flooding events coming through here, dumping sediment. That's how these things got buried, but a lot of these bones are clearly on the surface for a long time before that happened. Yeah. And broken bones could have been a trampoline park. My daughter broke a bone there once. Sure, yeah. No, think less like a trampoline park and more like a big bunch of quicksand or tar. Or, it's not actually quicksand or tar, but think about a place where animals would be getting stuck in the mud. Because we have direct evidence of this happening at this site. The core that we're working in right now, this big hole in the ground that we've dug, we're mostly getting iguanodont bones out of this. Again, this kind of dinosaur here, like iguanodon, but older. But just above that, basically where those plastic boxes are over there, were some sauropod dinosaurs dug up. And these guys seem to have gotten stuck in the mud, mired in place. And this is just above our iguanodont layer. So some of the broken bones that we see here from the iguanodonts may have actually been like sauropods stepping on them. But I'll show you a lovely illustration in Christa's book here of this site. This would be Lower Yellow Cat. So a little bit further than this. Oh yeah, so there's Iguana colossus, which is a kind of iguanodont. Probably pretty similar to the one that we have here. Ours might be a little smaller and a little bit earlier. But, oops. Oh, there's Selena there. In the book. He's also down in the quarry right now, too. Man, it's windy. Where is that illustration? The big, beautiful one with the Nearosaurus. Shows them getting stuck in the mud. There it is. There we go. So, this is an illustration of just behind the quarry there, where those plastic tubs are. Those action packers there. Big plastic totes. That is where these other dinosaurs were dug up earlier. So we've got limb bones of these guys going straight down into the mud. The bones are not on their sides, as you would expect, you know, to find in a situation like this. Instead, they're just plunging. It shows that this poor dinosaur got stuck in the mud and died, and then probably torn. Theropod dinosaurs. But this kind of helps illustrate what this environment would look like. A lot of fetid water, very marshy, swampy, these tree fern things like Tempskia growing around, horsetails and the club mosses and that kind of thing. Yeah. So, again, big change from a landscape that looks like this to one that looks like this in just 140 million years, but, well, that's actually a lot of time. Maybe not so hard to imagine such dramatic changes taking place when you've got 140 million years to do it. But, yeah, hope that answers your question there. Let's see. And from NPC Upvote, do we know if dinosaurs moved their heads like birds do today? Were they able to move their heads so quickly like birds? So, great question. I presume you're asking because you already know that birds are dinosaurs. So birds evolved from two-legged, mostly meat-eating dinosaurs with feathers, things that would have been kind of similar to Utah raptor or velociraptor, or to a lesser extent T-Rex. Those are all theropod dinosaurs, two-legged, mostly meat-eating dinosaurs. A lot of them may have moved their heads in the same way that birds do today. I'm not super confident that I know why birds move their heads in such a jerky fashion today. Not all birds do. Some are much more fluid in their head movements, but some birds are very, you know, kind of staccato in the way that they move their heads. Short, rapid bursts. Testing for that kind of thing in the fossil record is going to be difficult, because what we have are mostly bones, and how do you tell how an animal moved its head based on just bones? Maybe there is a skeletal correlate there. Maybe you could look at brain structure or something. Maybe all the birds today that move their heads in a really staccato fashion, kind of like chickens, maybe there's something interesting about their brains that would show up in the structure of their brain case in their skull. And if you could find a similar morphology in dinosaurs, in certain groups of dinosaur, maybe you could say, yeah, they probably moved their heads that way. But I don't know if that even shows up in the brain case. So I don't know if it's something that we could say with any kind of confidence. It's a good question. in science, you know, it's all about testing ideas. So you can ask a question, but if you don't have a good way to test it, then it's, you know, not really scientific. It's not to say that we won't be able to come up with a way to test it in the future. There's always new methodologies that researchers come up with. Advances in technology can allow us to come up with new ways to test ideas. But at present, I don't know if we really have a good way to test whether some dinosaurs would have had chicken-like head movements. I'm not sure. Yeah. And Claire, dinosaurs postulated that sauropods might have practiced osteophagy, really eaten bones, in attempts to heal their own bones. So we found evidence. I don't think so. There are a lot of modern animals that will chew on bones if given the chance. Like deer will do this, hippos will do this. Otherwise, plant-eating animals will sometimes eat bones or eat the carcasses of dead animals to get protein and to get, especially things like calcium. For an animal like deer, especially like male deer, that's really important because they're trying to grow these big, impressive antlers in order to woo females during the mating season. And if your body is already like in dire need of calcium, you know, it's just going to make things difficult for you. You might need to take in some extra calcium to kind of speed that process along. And that's one of the reasons why they do that. I don't think we have any evidence of that in sauropods. I don't think we have. I would look for things like wear facets on the teeth that would suggest that these guys are chewing on bones occasionally. Or you could look at fossil bones to see if they have bite marks from sauropods. You know, scrape marks on the bones that would line up perfectly with sauropod teeth. I don't think that's ever been found. Yeah, but it's certainly not impossible. I don't even know if it's unlikely. Maybe they did that. We just don't have evidence of it yet, to my knowledge. Yeah. And let's see. Synthwave says, what came first, the dinosaur or the egg? Eggs definitely came first. Critters have been laying eggs on planet Earth for like well over 1 billion years. And the first dinosaur only evolved about 240 million years ago, give or take. So eggs are much, much older than dinosaurs are, if we're talking about the history of life on Earth, you know? It's not even close. Yeah. And, yeah. And Claire Burr says, I was just wondering if anyone is looking for sauropod bite marks on these iguanodontians. That would be really cool to find. Shoot. Usually when we talk about bite marks, we're talking about bite marks from carnivorous animals. So, finding that from an herbivore would be really weird. I don't know if we'd know how to identify that if we were to find it. Anyway, I'm going to hold on to some of these shade tarps here because the wind is getting crazy. Oop.
Oh, there goes.
Ah, a little bit too late. Come here. Got it. There we go. No more shade tarp pole. I am the shade tarp pole now. Now Nick is. Just want to nail that straight down to.
I kind of want to.
Yeah, to the ground. There's a nail.
I think that's just gonna rip out.
Maybe if you triple it up first or quadruple it up, it'll be less likely to
It
tear.
was fine the other day,
Yeah.
but it is kind of windy right now. I don't know. I also just want some fucking shade.
Careful.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's field work. You know, I could just stand there with my boot on it for a while.
Okay, I'll just blow a hole through this. That's fine.
Okay. Enough for you to handle.
Maybe we just take a bath and work in the sun for a bit.
Yeah, it's after 5 already.
They're kind of hard to really work very well when you've got those things flapping around all the time.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just getting stronger. Then we're just gonna like
Let's take them down?
tarps. Yeah.
Okay. Here, I can hold that corner, Nick, if you want to get the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go. All right, we're gonna draw in the sails. Work.
Start taking them down.
Yeah.
So it's down there. Let's see. Hey, Glenn, do you want to get on this tarp that side first? Cool. And then I'll get this side. That way we won't get too crazy flappage, because the leading edge will still be secured to the frame.
Alright, Jamie, last one.
Great, okay.
Let it go flying.
Yeah, go for it. Oh boy. All right, we got one left on there. Nice. Yeah, it's not easy to do this one-handed. Here. That one could probably stay for now. Nice work. Darn. Here, might as well do this one too. Shoot. You okay?
Bungee ball. You got me.
There we go, last one. All right, nice.
Grab all these things and pile.
Well, thanks for your patience there, chat. Live field work. Sometimes stuff like this happens. Yeah. And Bull Raxon just raided us. Beautiful. Bull Raxon, thank you for the raid. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Just had a little bit of a shade tarp rodeo there. Gonna get everything all rounded up before the wind takes it over the horizon. Yeah, welcome. Let me know if you've got any questions or anything. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. So, I don't know. I dreamed of digging up dinosaurs since I was a little kid, and now I get to do that for multiple months out of every year, and I can to the magic of Twitch and satellite internet. I can bring and show you what this is all about. So let me know if you've got any questions. Yeah. And Ben's Variety Streams, how are you doing? Hello. I'm doing really well. I hope you are too. It's good to see you. And Bull Raxon says, yes, I love it here. Kit Boga rated in and I was hooked. It's great to have you back. Yeah, excellent. I'm here with the Utah Geological Survey, and we're digging up at least one, possibly two, maybe more, brand new species of dinosaur from the earliest Cretaceous period. Our best guess at these rocks are about 130, maybe 140, maybe as much as 142 million years old. Jim is very fond of the 142 estimate, but we're still working on getting those data. But yeah, important stuff. Are we packing up or? Okay, cool. I'll stream for a few minutes more, answer some questions and stuff, and then I'll wrap up too. That's one of the lovely things about working at this site is our camp is just over there, walking distance. It's beautiful, you know? This feels like a vacation after a month of working in Wyoming, out in the middle of nowhere. This is also the middle of nowhere, but logistically much simpler, which is really nice. Yeah. And shade thrown on Wyoming, says Artful Turkey. It's not about Wyoming, it's about, we've got multiple field sites that are all miles and miles from camp. Here, we've got one quarry that we're digging, and it is walking distance to camp over there. Really nice. So, leisurely field work almost. Yeah. And, yeah. And X Room says, what if one day you were digging dinosaur bones and you suddenly find an alien silicon bone instead? That would be a big deal. Shoot. Nature paper, as we would say. You know, that would be the find of the millennium. Not particularly likely, but yeah. Nature paper, the journal Nature is the highest impact journal that we publish in as paleontologists. So it's got the widest readership. It's like the most prestigious of the scientific journals that we as paleontologists publish in. Scientific journals in other fields, like the journal Cell for like microbiology, or what is it, like the American Journal of Medicine or something. Those definitely have higher impact factor, but paleontologists don't publish there. But if we say, you know, oh man, this could be a Nature paper, that means that this is a really flashy discovery that's going to get a lot of attention, and you could get it into one of those higher profile journals like Nature. Yeah. And Pumpkin the Cat says the most prestigious for any field of science is Nature or Science. I don't think that's true. I think Cell, the journal Cell, C-E-L-L, it probably has a higher impact factor than either Nature or Science. I could be wrong, but I seem to recall that's the case. And then there's other journals in medicine and stuff that are higher impact factor too, I think. But you can check me on that. Oh, the Lancet. There you go, Kennedy. Yeah. Anywho. Let's see. Artful Turkey wants to know, what's the holy grail of paleontology? That's a super broad question. I get this sometimes. Paleontology is such a broad field. It's the study of ancient life going back over 3 billion years. Everything from fossil bacteria to fossil baleen whales. So there's no one holy grail. But if you were to make the question more specific, like working in the Cedar Mountain Formation here, what would be the holy grail to find? If you were to find the earliest angiosperm plant, the earliest flowering plant, that would be a big deal. So far, I think the earliest flowering plant is something that looks kind of like a water lily, I think. It's from China, from the early Cretaceous. If we found one earlier here, that would be a huge deal. Because flowering plants take over the whole world. You know, you look at just about any landscape and they're dominated by flowering plants. Here we've got sagebrush and ephedra and, you know, these scrubby plants like this, even cactuses. These are all angiosperms, flowering plants. They're everywhere now, and they didn't exist at this time, as far as we know. They show up a little bit after this, so if we were to find the first one, that'd be a huge deal. In terms of dinosaurs, I don't know, if you were to find the earliest Tyrannosauroid around here, which, you know, that would be that'd be a big deal. You know, stuff like that. Yeah. I guess a lot of my holy grails are like the earliest this, the earliest that. But if we're thinking like complete blue sky, like you could find anything. If you had like a fully mummified, preserved Tyrannosaurus or something up in like the Hell Creek, that would be bonkers. That'd be so cool. Would tell us a lot. Yeah, that would be massively informative. So that's another answer I could give you. Yeah. And hey Murph, how are you doing? Hello. Hope things are good. Rawman says, what's the weirdest thing you've encountered? I've run into a lot of weird people in the field, but I can't see any of the fossils that I found are particularly weird. Yeah, I don't know. Generally, we know what we're looking for here, and if there's anything really surprising, it'll be surprising, but not necessarily weird. Yeah. The weirdest thing I've ever found out while prospecting was probably like, I found some big 50 caliber slugs from like a fighter plane one time, like from like a 50 caliber machine gun, probably from like a P-47 Thunderbolt from World War II. And I found out that nearby they had a U.S. Army Air Corps airfield, and they used to fly Thunderbolts out of there. And apparently they used to do target practice on the rancher cattle and stuff. This is up in Montana. That was weird. But yeah. And Sketchwen says, is any full skeleton of a dinosaur sort of a grail? I mean, of any particular kind of dinosaur, maybe. Most of the dinosaurs that we have described, most of the dinosaurs that have been named are based on like a single incomplete skeleton. Most dinosaurs aren't known from very much material. But there's some dinosaur species where we've got like 1,000 complete skeletons, where every single bone in the skeleton is represented. Yeah, we're talking about dinosaurs like Coelophysis, or maybe Pachyrhinosaurus, although those are usually disarticulated. Things like Confuciusornis or Liaoningosaurus, or dinosaurs like that, where like, yeah, we've got hundreds of complete skeletons of that one kind of dinosaur. So it definitely does happen. I don't know why. Sometimes you see on the internet people spreading misinformation like, did you know nobody's ever found a complete skeleton of any kind of dinosaur? It's like, that's complete nonsense. Certain parts of the world you find complete skeletons of dinosaurs all over the place. Usually they're on the smaller side, but sometimes you even get big dinosaurs that are complete. There's that young Camarasaurus from Dinosaur National Monument. It's complete except for like the end of the tail. Every other bone is there. It's just beautiful. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and the Barnum Brown bucket, that wasn't weird. That was just cool. But yeah, we found in Wyoming an old rusty metal bucket that we presume probably belonged to Barnum Brown's field crew when they were there in 1938. They just left this bucket behind next to a dinosaur skeleton. Clearly somebody had been digging there decades and decades before us, and we found a bucket there, which is cool. Probably from his crew. And Wheeze says, is it possible to find a bone that isn't a fossil? Yeah, we find them all over the place here, on the surface. You know, we'll find little femurs of rabbits and little jaws of mice and stuff like that. Yeah, but we're not going to find a bone from this age that's unfossilized. It's just not going to happen. The only reason these bones have lasted 140 million years is because they've been partially turned to stone. They've been permineralized. After the bones were buried, elements in the groundwater, minerals that are in the groundwater, seep into the bones. They replace some of the original organic material with minerals from the earth, and then they become fossils. Bones have got a natural lifespan, I guess, if they're just bones. You know, they don't last forever. They'll rot away, they'll dry out, they'll crack, they'll get damaged by UV radiation from the sun, and eventually they'll just turn to dust. The reason why we have these fossil bones from 140 plus million years ago, we think, is because they've become fossilized, you know, after burial. Does that make sense? Yeah. And the Doomhauer wants to know, other than schooling, how would one get into paleontology or anthropology? I think the history of Earth's creatures and human ancestors are fascinating. Would love to do my part. That's a beautiful question. I'm glad you asked it. There are so many different opportunities to get involved in paleontology that don't require becoming a paleontologist. So here in the quarry right now, it's actually kind of unusual. Everyone in the quarry currently is a paleontologist, you know, somebody who works in fossil science. But oftentimes, you know, during the summer, we'll have people here who are just enthusiastic amateurs. People who are amateur fossil collectors or school teachers or accountants or whoever else, and they're just interested in fossils. And they'll come out here and they'll help us dig. That's the thing, is that to get on a crew like this, you don't need to have a degree. You don't need to even necessarily have any expertise in this field. We just need free labor, you know? I sorely wish that we had the kind of budget where everybody here could get paid, where, you know, I wish we had that kind of money. We don't. Hardly any museums have that kind of money. I would say almost none. So the lifeblood of any field crew is going to be volunteers. That's pretty much universal. So if you're interested in learning about paleontology, if you want to participate, if you're comfortable with the idea of living out in the desert for days or weeks at a time, putting up with things like extreme heat and really annoying wind and bugs and dust and not showering for the interim, all that stuff. If none of that stuff phases you, if you say, cool, you should see if you can join a field crew. There's museums around the US and across the planet who could use your help. So get in contact with them. Likewise, if you don't like the idea of being outside, but you still want to help out in paleontology, you could volunteer in a museum. Museums need people to clean the fossils in the laboratory, do what we call fossil preparation. Museums need gallery interpreters, docents, tour guides. Museums need people to just help with, assisting in research and cleaning the facilities and stuff like that. Yeah. That's how I got my start in paleontology. When I was in high school, I sent an email to the University of California Museum of Paleontology in Berkeley, right near where I grew up. And I said, hey, I know you don't have a volunteer program, because I checked. Do you have a place where I can come help you out? I wouldn't mind just fixing the cabinets or whatever. Like, what can I do? And I started off doing some mopping and taking out the trash and helping with menial tasks, and eventually they moved me up until I was helping visiting researchers in the collections. I was helping glue together fossils that had broken in the drawers. I was helping to write locality numbers on things and eventually help with grinding slides for histology, or actually doing fossil prep in the laboratory. This is all as a high schooler with no prior experience. So if I can do that, you can do that. If you're really interested, you can do it. And I encourage you to pursue that. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah. And Vike 213 says, how much of Sue the Tyrannosaurus has been found? Is it a mostly complete skeleton? It is mostly complete. I think it's like 85% complete or something like that. It's pretty good for a T-Rex. They're big animals. It's hard to bury the whole thing. Like when an animal like that died 66 million years ago, it's not very likely that the whole carcass would get covered by mud or sand. So when you find a complete one, it's pretty special. And Shepard says, is there a way to estimate the weight of the original bone after it's been fossilized? Or does fossilization not change the weight? No, it gets way heavier when it gets fossilized because it's partially turned to stone. Fresh bones are really light by comparison, and for some dinosaurs, like sauropod dinosaurs, their vertebrae would have weighed next to nothing, probably. Because they're all filled with these pneumatic diverticula, so you've got big air-filled spaces in the bone. So they'd be much, 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 much lighter in life, or when the bone is fresh, than when it's fossilized. When it's fossilized, it's partly turned to stone, so it's going to be much heavier, more brittle. You could try and estimate how much each of these bones would weigh before they were fossilized. All you would have to do is get the volume of the fossil bone, and then just multiply that by the density of like fresh bone, and then you'd have a pretty good estimate for how much it would weigh when it was fresh. Yeah. And let's see. Scrolling. Good to put things on my resume. Seriously, land and history buff, look into a local museum. See if you could get in there and participate. They could use the help. Yeah. And Pumpkin the Cat says, has there ever been a non-avian dinosaur found in Northern Europe like Scandinavia or Finland? Yes. I think it was from Norway. There's I think a early sauropodomorph dinosaur, kind of like Plateosaurus, has been found in Norway, if I remember correctly. Somebody can look it up. Dinosaurs are not common in Scandinavia, even though they lived there at the time. Just, you don't have the right kinds of rocks of the right age exposed at the surface most of the time. And I think that Plateosaurus that was found may have been found by a drill rig. They were just drilling down like into the ocean floor, and they happened to hit Triassic age terrestrial sediment and pulled up a chunk of what's probably Plateosaurus bone, if memory serves, if I have that right. Yeah. Al Pereira says, do you think John Reeves was telling the truth about those mammoth bones? I don't know who that is. Yeah. Could you elaborate? I'm not sure I'm familiar with that. And Murph says, does percent complete include mirrored elements or total? It depends. So some estimates are mirrored elements, where like if they have the right humerus, then they'll say, well, the left one is just a mirror image, so we'll mark both of those as complete. So it depends on who's doing the estimate. Yeah. I think there might even be a Wikipedia article about this. It's like Tyrannosaurus specimens or something. Yeah. And Stats Bloke wants to know, how is the porous structure of the bones visible when fossilized? Different minerals, different size crystals? No, oftentimes if you have really good preservation, all of the microstructure of the bone is still intact. Like at a microscopic level, it will have been replaced by different minerals, but the architecture of the bone is the same. All of the Haversian canals, all of the little pores, all of the osteoblasts and osteoclasts in there, still preserved. It just depends, you know, often it's a case-by-case thing or a formation-by-formation thing. But yeah, for a lot of really well-preserved dinosaur fossils, everything internal is still there. To the point where you can cut the bones open and count the growth rings inside, like we talk about. Osteohistology. It's pretty cool. Can't do that for all bones. Some of them are really crumbly preserved, but more often than not, you get really good internal preservation. Yeah. And let's see. And Vike213 says, one more question. When I go to a museum, are the dinosaur exhibits actual bone or are they replicas of the bone? It depends. Yeah. So at a lot of museums, especially bigger museums, they'll have actual dinosaur fossil skeletons on display. Usually that's, you know, just part of the skeleton or part of the whole museum hall. The way to tell the difference is usually pretty simple. You go up and you look at the bones, and if you have metal rods just going straight through the bones, you know, when you're looking at a mounted skeleton, so say, you know, we're looking at a dinosaur skeleton standing up. Look at those bones. Do they have metal rods jamming straight into them? If they do, it's probably not real bone, because you don't want to do that to actual bones. You do that to a replica, you could just drill straight through them and it's fine. But if you have actual fossil bone, you usually have fossil holders around them. So you'll have a metal armature there, where all these like subtle metal pieces are there just holding the bone firmly but gently in place. Some people call them fossil holders or armature or antlers or fingers, but look for metal parts holding the bone. If you see those on a fossil mount, on a skeleton mount, it's almost certainly real bone. It's expensive and time-consuming and complicated to make those metal armatures, but you want to do that if it's real bone. So there you go. If metal rods are going straight through the bones, they're replicas. If they're being held in place by a metal armature with little prongs around the bones, that's real bone. Most of the time. I'm sure I could find an exception here or there, but generally speaking, that's how you can tell. Hope that helps. And Al Pereira says, John Reeves claimed a museum dumped his mammoth bones into the Hudson River. I don't know that story. Yeah, I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, and Vike. Oh, at the AMNH in New York City, a lot of those are real. Oh, yeah. In the United States, the American Museum of Natural History in New York almost certainly has the highest percentage of like real fossil bones on display of any major museum. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. And that's awesome. I've been there many times. Yeah, AMNH is gorgeous. I'd love to be able to do some work there in the near future, but we'll see. We'll see what pans out. Yeah. Oh, and Temporis TV has got a question. Do you have any preference for your own funeral, especially as a paleontologist? You dig up so many old bones. What about your own? I probably want to just have my body donated to science afterward, you know? I want to be one of those carcasses on the table at the medical school where med students will cut it up and learn from me, you know? I don't know. Like, after I die, you know, I'm not doing anything with my body anymore. Let somebody else have it. I remember my old crew chief, Denver Fowler from the north of England. He used to talk about this all the time. He used to say how he thought it was really selfish in his native England that people wanted to be buried in burial plots. Because, you know, Great Britain is not a huge island. It's not a lot of real estate there. Denver's like, oh, it's so selfish to be taking up this land. Just a bunch of old dead people. It's like, when I die, I want to be turned into a play structure for children. So they can climb all over me, something like that. And then another scenario he came up with, he's like, you know, like, when I die for my funeral, I want a 21 elephant salute at the funeral. And he says, I want my body to be put in a sodium coffin and then shot into the ocean so it'll explode into a million pieces and all the little crabs will eat me, is what he said. I think about that all the time. I think Denver had a couple of drinks that night. This is at a Dead Lizard Society meeting, like we used to have in Montana. But I thought it was kind of inspiring, you know? I want to have an answer like that. The simple answer is like, yeah, donate my body to science. Future physicians will be able to learn human anatomy based on that, and maybe they'll save other people's lives someday, you know? Just trying to give something back. But my joke answer for this is after I die, I want to be taxidermied and then put into a dinosaur exhibit at a museum. You know, sometimes at some museums they'll have a diorama where it's like, this is how paleontologists dig in the field. And there'll be like a mannequin there, hunched over like a string of sauropod tail vertebrae. And like, you know, mannequin's posed like he's digging it up in field clothes and everything. I want that to be me. Just, you know, get me taxidermied, just like a coyote in the museum. Yeah. Anywho. And Clairbert Denver Feller is a hoot. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Left to medical science. I know Kennedy, yeah. Yeah. Then someone could volunteer to clean you, says Statsblog. There you go. Some poor young intern. Yeah, go dust off the paleontologist carcass over there. Yeah. You're welcome, Temporis. Thank you for the thoughtful and unique question. Anyhow, with that, we're gonna wrap up today's stream. I've been going for 40 minutes longer than usual. So let's wrap this up, and then I'll get back to digging. Who else is live on Twitch right now? Don't go away. We're gonna see if we can continue the science. Who else is live? Scrolling. Let's see who we've got. Let's go say hello to Melissa in Denial, shall we? Melissa is an archaeologist and an Egyptologist. She streams here on Twitch telling people about archaeology and Egyptology. So we're going to switch from fossil science to ancient human civilizations. Not very ancient in my opinion, but you know, we're digging in the Cretaceous here, so we go. Raid. Melissa in denial. Do I have that right? Mm-hmm. And did that work or not? Oh, okay, shoot. Right, I think it auto-corrected. Beautiful, excellent. Everybody, thank you for joining me today. The internet is a really big place. Thanks for spending some time with me here when you could be just about anywhere. Instead, you've been hanging out with paleontologists and learning about Christa Sadler's new book. Again, I recommend you take a look at that and see if you can purchase it, if you can afford it. You won't find a better source of information all in one place on the Cedar Mountain Formation or on the work that we do out here, so check that out. Thank you so much to everybody from today's stream. Raiders, question askers, lurkers, cheerers, gifters, subscribers, moderators, thank you for everything that you do. We're going to go right into Melissa in Denial and we'll talk about archaeology with her. So take care, everybody. With any luck, I'll be streaming again tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.